But Andrew asked the same question like 3 times, and he was like non-responsive. Let me repeat the question. And then she finally like answers. She's like, yes, but then blah, 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 blah. And he's like, thank you, Your Honor. Strike everything from the record after yes.
And that's what they'll do. I've seen that happen a lot of times too, where they ask someone a question. So when you're asked a question on the stand and they ask you a yes or no question and they just want to know, is the information I'm giving here accurate, yes or no? You can't like say yes, but, and then blah, 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 and try to justify your thing and try to undermine the answer that you just gave. He was looking for a yes or no answer. And if the answer was yes, then that's it. The answer is yes.
And they might even require, I think, publishing of the media. And despite what Kiwi Farms or Gisticle or other retards say, if you actually read case law, publishing, it's not a cute thing where you're like, oh, well, technically, if you link a video on here, the link can be made public. No, publishing requires you to post it on a public website.
Yeah, sounds like it is not going in Pixie's favor so far. It sounds like her lawyers don't have as strong a case as they thought they did, and they started to waffle a little bit after that. That they don't have the arguments they think they had. They had a witness that didn't show up. The judge starts asking to cite case law. They don't have any relevant case law to cite. Ooh, this does not sound like it is going to be the slam dunk case for Pixie that everybody was saying that it was going to be. So it's been a while since we've checked in on Destiny. I have not seen this, and I'm gonna state this outright. This is Destiny's retelling of his first day in court. No official transcript has been released yet. We are taking Destiny at his word on this. That's it. When the transcript comes out, we will read it on stream, and we will compare it to what Destiny recalled from his personal experience and see if they line up. But as of right now, my interest in this is I'm not a Destiny fan or Destiny hater. I've only seen him in clips. I've never seen any of Pixie's content. I'm not even familiar with all the orbiters and characters that are probably going to be mentioned in this, but I heard about it and I got real fucking locked in on the legal aspect because everybody's screaming about how wrong Destiny is and how slam dunk a case this is for Pixie. And then as I look at the facts, I go, I don't think people understand how court works. And the problem is when I try to state on Twitter or, online or in a comment section about how I don't think this is the nail in the coffin for Destiny you guys think it is, people just immediately label me as a Destiny fan and call me a pedo and do all the same bullshit that those sycophantic communities do. If we're being realistic, there is a difference between the way a judge judges something and the way the public perceives and judges something. The public tends to judge things based on morality and feels. Something is wrong. It feels wrong. It should be obvious that it's wrong, and if it's wrong, it should be punished. That tends to be the way the public reacts to something. But there are plenty of examples of things that are wrong, feel wrong, and should be punished, but are not illegal. So when a judge looks at something, he looks at it through that lens. Is it legal? Yes or no? That's it. That's the only question a judge needs to ask. So an example of that would be cheating on your wife or girlfriend. It is wrong. It feels wrong. And it feels like it should be punished. You're a piece of shit if you do it. Society all agrees that you should be punished. However, cheating on your girlfriend is not against the law. You cannot be punished in a court of law for cheating on your girlfriend. Saying a racial slur meets all those requirements, feels wrong, makes you racist, you're a piece of shit, who does this? However, in a court of law, it is not against the law to use the N-word, to say a racial slur. It's a bad look, but it's protected free speech. So you will not go to jail for doing it. You will not be criminally charged for doing it. And I felt the same way about the Destiny Pixie situation where they're talking about the revenge porn. And I'm going, okay, well, hold on. I don't think what he did meets the legal requirement of revenge porn. And as soon as I do that, I'm protecting a fucking sexual assault, a rapist or whatever. Yeah, like all the things they called him. I was like, well, in order to meet the legal requirement, and another thing that because people would then start Google the legal requirement. The legal requirement for revenge porn changed in September of 2024, last year. The incident in question with Destiny took place in 2022. So you have to judge it based on the law as it stood at the time, not what it can be defined as now. And at the time, to meet the legal requirement for revenge porn, you had to publish said porn, it had to be a published work without the consent of the other person. The key word there was publish. So what counts as a published work? Putting it onto a public platform or a public-facing website. Sending someone porn, even without their consent, prior to 2024, in a DM or Google Drive link or some place private, would not fit the legal definition of revenge porn. It would not be a crime. It should have been, and it is now, but at the time he did it, it wasn't. So that is why Destiny is being sued and not criminally charged. So I'm already right there, just judging by the fact that how this is being handled. So now you're going to put this in front of a judge. The only thing you should forfeit for racist speech is your safety. I mean, yeah, that's a risk you take. But as far as it being like, will you get arrested for saying it? Like that's the question a judge has to ask is, will you be arrested for doing said thing? Can a cop arrest you for it? Is it illegal? And that's the only question that matters. Now, as far as the other stuff in the case, everybody harped on the idea that Destiny was going with his defense of implied consent. And even I looked at it at the time and said, that's not a good defense, but everyone screaming that that's not a thing and that's not how consent works doesn't know how legal consent works. Implied consent can absolutely be a thing from a legal standpoint. I just don't know if Destiny technically fit that or not. So I guess we'll find out here, or at least in his retelling, because I'm pretty sure that's going to get brought up. I'll be surprised if it doesn't. But like an example of implied consent is if you're dating a girl and you guys have talked about it beforehand and she is totally fine with you just grabbing her private bits whenever you want. You can just walk up to her and slap her ass and grab her tits and grope her whenever you want. And she is totally fine with it. She thinks it's cute. And then one day you do it and she goes, no, that's not okay, and tries to have you up for sexual assault. That probably wouldn't fly. That probably wouldn't fly because you guys have established that that's okay without him needing to ask every single time. The consent is implied after that first conversation where you're going to do it. She knows that this is a thing that you're going to do. You know it's a thing she's okay with, so you don't need to ask every single time. So the consent is then implied. Any judge would look at that the same way and be like, well, you were cool with it before. Why were you not cool with it this time? And if you weren't cool with it this time or something changed, why didn't you talk with him about it and tell him that you're no longer cool with it? Why did you wait until it happened? Yeah, so the judge is going to have a very different look on it. And there's a lot of actions taken by Pixie that I mentioned in comments and stuff, and again got yelled at by people for being a DGG or whatever Destiny's community is called, the Dalaban or whatever. Yeah, I got accused of being a glazer and all that stuff, but there's plenty of actions that Pixie took that she complained about when Destiny did them, but she also did them. So a judge is going to look at all of this stuff in its totality. Like, he's not looking at it in a bubble. So if she's complaining about Destiny doxing her, for instance, or, talking about it publicly, well, then he's going to look at her and go, wait, isn't that what you did? Didn't you post all this stuff on Twitter and on a Substack? Isn't that how people found out about it to begin with? Because you posted it? So I feel like a lot of her actions are going to come back to bite her in the ass, and this isn't going to be as clear-cut a case as everyone thinks it is. Now, I could be completely wrong. Honestly, this could go either way. So I'm very curious to see what direction it did take. And again, this is Destiny's perspective of how it went. It usually takes about a week or so after the court case, after, the day in court, for the transcript to become available to the public. And when that comes out, I will pull those transcripts and we will look at those public court documents and see if the things said in that match his recollection of the events. But it'll be a good compare and contrast. So we're going to start with Destiny. Let me get this pulled up.
That claim comes from.
All right, let's get this pulled up. It's about an hour and a half, but he may not talk about it for the whole video, because I've seen some Destiny clips and stuff that people send me, and it seems like a lot of the videos on his channel that I've been sent is he talks about the thing in the title for like half of the video, and then he kind of meanders and goes on to the other half. I honestly, I'm gonna try to make this as entertaining as possible. The few times I've seen an actual Destiny video from Destiny's channel, And I'm not talking like a clip, because he's exciting to watch in clips when he's going off on somebody in a debate or something. But like actual clips from his stream, long form clips that people send me, then make me go actually look at his actual channel. And the few times I've done that, I don't understand how his audience is as big as he is. This dude seems boring as fuck. So I'm going to try to keep this interesting. He's very monotone. He's very informative. He's a very smart guy. But the entertainment value is only there when he starts getting unhinged. The rest of the time, he's just seems very like boring to me. But it's not my kind of content. But if that's what this is going to be, just him recounting the facts, I'm probably going to be pausing a lot to try to keep it entertaining and to try to break this stuff down. So anyway, without further ado, here is Destiny's recollection of the court case he had, his first day in court with Pixie, for whether or not he is what the internet calls him, sex pestiny. Destiny is a smart version of Hassan. I don't know if I'd go that far. I think he's more of a... I think Destiny is what Vosh wishes he was. Vosh is one of those guys who does the Jordan Peterson thing of saying a lot of complicated words to make himself sound smart while saying absolutely nothing. So like Vosh and Jordan Peterson can both talk for like 2 minutes straight and say nothing. It'll sound complicated and intelligent, but they didn't actually fucking say anything. They just use a lot of words that are technically right. They're like walk-in thesauruses. But when you actually listen to the content of what they said and try to piece all those words together into a sentence, it becomes nonsense. So I would mean smarter because Hassan is a retard. I mean, everybody's a smarter political streamer than Hassan. He is a retard. Well, everyone but his orbiters. He somehow found people dumber than him. Anyway, here we go. Destiny, take it away. Let's hear about the court case.
It was really brutal. Oh my God, even the lawyer. Oh, Zip, do you remember when the judge asked the lawyer, he was like, oh my God, dude, I almost started crying in the courtroom because this lawyer made me feel so...
Okay, so just from his opening, he says it's brutal. Something was really bad, made him almost cry in court, and he's referencing somebody named Zip. Is this another orbiter or something? Sounds like he had somebody there to corroborate his story at least. I don't know if that's possible. Well, thank you, Vince. Welcome back to the stream. All right, so let's get this broken down.
I always get like really scared for the upcoming court stuff because it kind of seems like things are really, really, really f***ed. And every time there's like a hearing or a judge input, it's like somebody's about to get a very, very, very brutal reality check. I'm either way too off in my understanding of what's going on, or they're completely off in their understanding. And
I mean, he just did the general feeling for most court cases there. If you've never been to court, I can tell you that this feeling is real. That when your day in court finally comes, as confident as you were, and no matter how many meetings you had with your lawyer, like once you're in the courtroom and you're face to face with the other side and their lawyer in front of a judge, you're always worried of, do they know more than we know? Did we make a mistake? Like, is this gonna, yeah, like all those feelings become real. I'm gonna head out. I'm falling asleep in my chair. Don't want to interrupt you because oh, no problem, man. Thanks for popping in, Waffle. See you on the next one. So those feelings are all very real, and if you're not used to them, it can be very anxiety inducing, like the butterflies in your stomach kind of thing, but in a bad way, nauseating, if you will. So I'm only pointing that out because the reason he's nervous doesn't mean he's guilty. Like a lot of people think that someone being nervous before they go to court is like proof of their guilt. Like, well, if you're innocent, what are you so nervous about? Because there's still so many ways it can go wrong even if you're innocent. Court's scary. Court's a scary thing. And the people who don't understand that are the people basically telling me that they've never had to actually sit in a courtroom.
Yeah, I would say the hearing this morning was very brutal. The plaintiff had to like take a 10-minute cry break at like halfway through her testimony. I think my feeling is they were getting very frustrated, but oh, zip, oh my God. And I have another person who was there. Andrew looked at me and he was like, I'm pretty sure that's a public person. That's either one of your fans or one of your haters for you.
So like someone from his chat just showed up at the courtroom. That's another thing. People tend to forget that a lot of these court stuff, like trials like this are open, even federal court, which is what he's in. federal courts aren't recorded, so we're not going to be able to see a video of this. That's why we're going to have to rely on the transcripts to see if what he said is accurate or not. But anyone can just go into a courtroom and watch court cases all day long. You can have zero tied to it. That's what me and my buddies used to do in high school. When we would skip school, we would go sit for 2 hours in the courthouse watching court cases. We didn't know anybody in the courtroom. And the reason we did that was because our assistant principal, when they were trying to figure out who's skipping school that day and whose parents to call, he would leave school at around 9 a.m. and drive to the courthouse and peep in to see if there were any students he recognized there, so that if they said they had court, because they're going to ask you, why did you miss school yesterday? Or if they see you in that courtroom, then they won't call your parents. So we learned that if we just keep going to court and sitting there, this is where part of my fascination with court stuff came from, that if we just went to court and sat there, then when the assistant principal showed up, or the principal showed up, or one of the school staff showed up to check and see who's in court, they'd always see us in court. And why we're in court is none of your business. Maybe we're bad kids. Maybe we have bad family lives. None of it's your business. The point is, I said I was in court. You saw me in court, so I wasn't skipping school that day. And then after like 10 o'clock or so, after 10 or 11 o'clock or so, then we could go fishing or go do whatever we wanted. So a lot of I'm not surprised that a complete stranger from his chat, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of his haters were there too. He's a public figure. There's probably people that showed up to watch this just so they can say if whether or not he lied about it, or so they can defend him if they're a fan of his. So then it sounds like that's what he's got here. He's got a fan that showed up, that was watching him, and now they're going to corroborate his story as he tells it on stream. Plus, that little fan gets its 15 minutes of fame by getting called out on the stream.
You in the back. Zip was in the courtroom today. Dude, did you catch when Andrew told me to calm down? All of us were so happy because, oh my God, it's so funny. I had this exact same convo with, I don't want to reveal her identity. I'll just say LS. And one of the things...
LS. I don't want to reveal her name, so I'm going to call her LS. What's LS? Lauren Southern. I'm just going to go on a limb here and say that he's being purposefully obvious while being legally in the clear by saying, well, I didn't say her name. I said LS. That could be anybody. But I think we all know this is probably Lauren Southern.
We were kind of vibing with is that she said that she felt like really crazy over stuff related to her ex, and that going to family court was like one of the best things ever, because to hear a judge with all the evidence before them just obviously like saying like this person is clearly or obviously in the wrong, she said was like a very gratifying feeling. And I related as well because of the judge input on the last hearing that they did. And can you go full screen? Sure. And
I mean, he's right there. Anyone who's been through divorce court can tell you that does feel good, especially if you're going through divorce court and you're telling everybody all of the crazy stuff that your boyfriend's doing or your girlfriend's doing, and everybody's believing them over you because they're giving the opposite story. You can start to feel crazy because people are treating you like you're the bad guy and you're clearly in the right because he's gaslit everybody or she's gaslit everybody. And then to have it put in front of a judge, a non-biased third party who's just going to look at the facts and go, oh yeah, this is obviously fucked up. So to have a bunch of people defending fucked up stuff, which we're all going through that right now with the Ethan Klein and iDubbbz drama, where I feel like it's pretty obvious that Hassan and his fucking orbiters and shit are clearly in the wrong and clearly doing things that are unhinged and no one should be okay with. But everyone is trying to justify it and making you feel like you're crazy for calling it out. They're trying their best. They'll call you a genocide supporter. They'll call you pedo. And like they just treat you like you're the devil for pointing out something that should be obvious. You do start to feel a little crazy. But then to have that in front of a judge and him go, oh no, this is clearly wrong. It's a good feeling. It absolutely is a good feeling. I had a very similar feeling. I'll tell you all about my court stuff maybe later one day, because I've got kind of a fucked up story that led to one of my like worst days in court, where I learned the absolute most stuff about the courtroom. I won, but it was a very fucked up situation that I won't get into now because we're covering the Destiny stuff. But maybe that'll come later.
Then this one was very much the same. Yeah. Okay. So Zip45 was there, so he can say if I'm making shit up. But to hear the who's Andrew, my lawyer. To hear the judge asking like what I would consider to be the most obvious questions, and he was, oh God, I'm just so paranoid that like I'm gonna start that just something's going to happen. I'm just not like understanding. I'm getting like way too, I don't want to say overconfident or whatever, or that like I'm not understanding what's going on, but what did the judge tell you to calm down? No, the judge didn't tell me to calm down. Andrew told me to chill. I was just very.
So Andrew must be his lawyer. I'm assuming that's what that means. He didn't say if that was his lawyer or not, but with the way he's talking, I'm just going to assume that Andrew is his lawyer's name.
Happy. I was so relieved because the judge started asking. The judge just had so many good lines of question. I'm like, yes, thank God. Like I would write a note to Andrew, and then the guy to the left of me would write a note, and he would go to pass it over, and I noticed it was basically the same note.
Yeah, so it's definitely his legal counsel. It sounds like he's got more than one person on his legal counsel. He's got Andrew, I'm guessing is his actual lawyer, and then the other, probably a paralegal or somebody there with him.
And then before like either of us would pass it over to Andrew for his cross, like the judge would just like ask the question.
Yeah, Andrew's the lawyer for the cross-examination.
So it's like, yes, thank God. Like, because there's a lot of, there's just a lot of public commentary about this for people that they obviously hate me, but the hatred of me is like clouding their judgment over reasonable things. So like a few lines of questioning, and like in my mind, I'm like, this is so obvious. Right? Like, it's so obvious. And this is a line of thought that's been carried from Justicle's dipshit stream to Kiwi Farms, where it's like, oh, like, if Destiny sends this video to anybody else, he should know it's foreseeable, obviously. It's obviously foreseeable that it's going to be published on the internet. And obviously me and the other lawyer, like, writing notes, and Andrew's like, wait, how could you even? And then the judge is like, well, hold on.
Yeah, no judge is going to... I called that at the time, too, where they're like, he should know that if you send it privately to somebody in Discord that the internet's going to see it. And you go, no. Not necessarily. That's not a foreseeable thing. He can't foresee that girl's account is going to get hacked, and if she leaks it, then that's on her. Like you can't then like put the actions of whatever happens after that on him. The judge is going to look at his action. It's not a domino effect thing where a judge goes, well, you should have known that when you gave birth to this guy, he was going to do this when he grew up. No, we don't start the domino effect. They look at the individual action. That's how judges function. That's how the law functions. They look at the individual action. And did the individual action of sending that sex tape to Rose constitute a leak and constitute public sharing? Well, no, it was a DM. Well, he should have known that she was going to share it. Well, even if he did, he would be guessing, and that's not on him. That would be her sharing it, which would make it her crime and still not his. So that still doesn't count. That doesn't make sense. I said that at the time, and everybody treated me like I was crazy or dick riding, but it is absolutely true.
Hold on. You're like, didn't plaintiff do exactly that? And they were like, well, that's different because it involved... It's like, but she also did it with her...
Yeah, so the judge is doing exactly what I said he would, where he's like, wait, but didn't she do that too? Didn't she do that too? Even if she did a lesser version of it, it's still like you can't say that it's okay for me to talk about shit in a DM or for me to share something in a DM, but he can't. Like, it applies to both sides. So if she's doing a thing, like posting a public Substack and talking about this stuff or linking to things, then she can't get mad at him when he's doing it on his stream too. That doesn't make sense.
Boyfriend at the time as well, right? And they were like, yeah. And the judge shut down.
Oh, yeah. So she's sending it to her boyfriend in a DM. That's right. I forgot about that part. Yeah. So he sent it to someone who's essentially the equivalent of his girlfriend. Yeah, he's married, but this is a girl he's in an intimate relationship with. So a judge is going to look at it like, so this is his girlfriend, right? Like they're sleeping together, like blah, blah, blah. He's got a wife, but it's an open marriage. This is his girlfriend. Well, didn't you send that video to your boyfriend? Yeah, so he's just going to look at the two side by side and say, well, you're doing the same shit.
Down so many lines of questioning. I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Oh, I don't feel like a lunatic. It feels, oh my God, I felt so sane by the end of the questioning. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's how my first court case went, where I was feeling crazy. And then I went there and the judge basically said all the common sense things I thought were, I'll tell my story after this one. But yeah, I had that same feeling. I know exactly what he's talking about, where you no longer feel crazy.
Shit. Oh my God, and one of the most brutal lines of questioning, where Zip Zip, came from the judge. When the judge had to ask like 3 times, when Doe was on the scene, he was like, do you have any evidence at all that this happened within statute range? And then it was like, well, somebody messaged me whose sister said that they messaged me, but then they deleted it. It's like, okay, no. Is there any evidence past that? Any strong? And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, that was another thing I called out at the time, is that a lot of the stuff that they had as proof that were showing up on like Justical Stream and all these other streamers talking about it was the legal equivalent of hearsay, where it's he said, she said stuff like, yeah, you've got witnesses. Oh, well, she saw it and he DM'd her. Yeah. But is there any actual evidence of this? Or is it just I heard it from somebody and I'm taking it at their word? Because witnesses are great, but witnesses in and of themselves, regardless of what you've seen on television, a witness in and of itself isn't evidence. It can corroborate evidence and it can build a strong case, but if the only thing you have as a witness, all you have is hearsay, you can win on that sometimes, but it's not in and of itself evidence.
My favorite was, oh my God, my favorite. This is mean. Is this mean? I don't know. When you're in court, you can do.
He might not feel crazy, but he still kind of looks crazy. I mean, that's honestly the most kempt I've ever seen his hair from all the clips I've seen of him. Don't get me wrong. I still don't think he's a good dude. I am just here to analyze the legal aspect of this. Me agreeing with him or saying that he's saying right stuff doesn't mean I'm defending Destiny or his actions. It doesn't mean that I like him, and it doesn't mean that I agree with him. It means that I'm just looking at the court case and I agree with the judge or the decisions made. Do I agree with Destiny's actions? I'll go ahead and state this clear. No, he absolutely should not have shared a sex tape publicly without asking the girl first. Even if they talked about it prior and there was some consent, implied consent there from the fact that he filmed it and she said he could share it with his wife. Well, he didn't say he could share it with Rose. You should have double checked. Even if legally you had the implied consent and you were in the clear, you still should have. You should have also deleted it. You shouldn't have put it in a Google Drive, a shareable link that she could download from. And when you shared it on Discord, he should have deleted it from Discord immediately after it had served its purpose and she had seen it. It should have been a one-time view kind of thing. And you didn't. You left it up there for years so that someone could hack it and see it. That is still on him. I still think that that's on him, that's still his fault. I don't think it's his fault it got hacked, but I do think that you hold some responsibility in being irresponsible with the handling of that sex tape. Because me and Wolf Waffle, who was in chat earlier, who was in voice chat with me earlier, my mod, me and him confirmed it the last time we talked about this, where I sent him a video on Discord and had him leave his Discord open to view that video. And then after I sent it to him in a private message, I deleted the video from our message and asked him to confirm, did the video get deleted on your end? So if I delete this video from the chat, does it delete it for both of us? He confirmed that it did. It just said message deleted on his end. Now, I don't know if that works with text, but I know it works with multimedia messages for sure. So Destiny should have, immediately after she viewed the video and it served its purpose and it got him in her pants, he should have immediately deleted it from that message so that it doesn't show up in the message history. And then if somebody ever does get into her account, hack her, or she get mad and decide she wants to delete shit, there'll be nothing in those messages for them to find. There'll be the conversation talking about it being shared, but that in and of itself wouldn't be evidence. I mean, Pixie would probably still say you shared it, and she'd probably still be right, but there'd be no actual evidence of it. So he still mishandled it, for sure. So when I'm looking at this, I'm not looking at it in the lens of I need to defend Destiny. I'm looking at it of, yes, I think he mishandled it, but did his mishandling of it cross the line into legality, or, is it punishable by law the way that he handled it? Is it as cut and dry as everybody thinks? And I don't think so. I know that that's been an unpopular opinion of mine on the internet for a long time, but I don't think so.
Like, let me ask you a question, and the person kind of yaps, and you're like, non-responsive. I'm gonna ask the question again. And this happened like 2 or 3 times. It was so funny. She didn't want to answer. They just had to keep saying Abby MC, Abby MC. Yeah. Oh my God, which looked so bad.
Yeah, that does look bad if you have a witness up on the stand that you've called up there to defend you or to corroborate your story, and then that witness has trouble remembering details, or that witness keeps getting quiet when they're asked a question as if they don't know how to answer. That makes it sound like the answers that they are giving aren't truthful, that they're trying to remember a story and remember a narrative, and they're scared to give the wrong answer. Where what you're supposed to do as a witness when you get called up onto the stand is simply tell the fucking truth. There is no story to remember. There's just, hey, did this happen? Yes or no.
But the when
no, legally he's fine. I just think he looks crazy. I mean, I think he probably is crazy, honestly, from all the stuff I've seen on him and the way he's acted and the fact that he has, a wife and kid, and he doesn't seem very focused on his kid. I'm not going to try to judge somebody. Maybe he just doesn't talk about it a lot on stream. but just judging by the amount of time he spends streaming and the amount of time he spends traveling places to do interviews and to do debates on like Piers Morgan and stuff, I'm like, when you're doing all of this stuff, when do you ever see your son? He's always in another state. So I kind of feel some way about that because I have kids and I couldn't see myself, even if my wife left me and divorced me, I couldn't see myself just not coming up with a way to see my kids on a regular basis. And I just don't see how it's possible with the schedule that he keeps, if I'm being honest. Maybe there's a way and he doesn't, just doesn't talk about it, but just the way he talks in general it seems like career is the most important thing to him, which I find odd and a little distasteful. It's kind of telling of your personality if you're that focused on career when you have a child.
But Andrew asked the same question like 3 times and he was like non-responsive. Let me repeat the question. And then she finally like answers. She's like, yes, but then blah, 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 blah. And he's like, thank you, Your Honor. Strike everything from the record after yes. And
that's what they'll do. I've seen that happen a lot of times too, where they ask someone a question. So when you're asked a question on the stand and they ask you a yes or no question and they just want to know, is the information I'm giving here accurate, yes or no, you can't like say yes, but, and then blah, 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 and try to justify your thing and try to undermine the answer that you just gave. He was looking for a yes or no answer. And if the answer was yes, then that's it. The answer is yes. And they'll look at the judge and they'll do that. They'll say, strike everything from the record after yes, because nothing else is relevant to this fucking case. I didn't ask you that. So, and that tends to fluster a lot of people. And it does make you, as the person who called that witness, look really bad if you have a witness who's more desperate to defend you than they are to tell the truth.
And then
than they are to just answer the questions as asked.
was on to his next question. And I'm like, holy shit.
We've all seen this with those Congress clips where Congress will ask them a question, like when they asked the Harvard University guy the question, or they ask, someone that they're examining a question, and they just give a bunch of bullshit and don't actually answer the question. And then the Congress will go, I asked you a yes or no question. Is it this yes or no? And the person just continues to refuse to answer the question. We've all seen that and we all get infuriated by it. In a courtroom, same thing. The judge is going to get infuriated by it. It's going to make you look bad. Even if your fucking witness is telling the truth, but the fact that they're being so hard to get that truth out, get the truth out of them, and the fact that they're gish galloping and they're trying to defer from the actual point, the fact that they're acting that way looks bad, and it makes you look untrustworthy. All of that stuff matters. If you're ever called to a defendant stand and you're ever called in to be a witness in court, your job, your only job, is to answer the questions as asked. That is it. Most of the time they will ask you yes or no questions, and that's all they want back from you is a yes or no. Typically, unless it's cross-examination. Cross-examination usually has more direct questions. But when you're called up there to the stand, most of the time they already have all the information they need. You're just there to confirm it. So they're going to just ask you a series of yes or no questions. It's not like it is on TV where you get to tell your fucking story. You're not there to tell a story. You're there to answer the questions. Just answer the fucking questions.
Oh my God, it was so brutal. Oh God, it felt very good. I felt very sane by the end of it. The other lawyer was trying to just ask me the dumbest questions. But they were like so easy. I don't know if this guy thought he had like some crazy shit up his sleeve. He was like, didn't you, fuck, what was one of them? Zip, do you remember? I don't know how much into the specifics I want to get, but. Oh yeah, what a disgusting. There's so many things I wish Andrew could have brought up, but we just didn't have the time. It was only a 2.5 hour hearing. Oh yeah, they were like.
So this wasn't even really his court case, it was just a hearing, but this will set the stage for the actual court case. And if this hearing goes poorly, this may never actually even make it to court. So that's why this is important. Because everybody's like, well, because I'm sure everybody's going to be thinking, well, if this isn't the court case, what does this matter? Well, depending on how this hearing goes, this may end in a settlement or this may get dismissed. Yeah, like all of this stuff matters. So this is going to set the stage for how the court case is going to go, if it actually does make it all the way to court. Because this is still in front of a judge.
Is it true that you directed your fans to Kiwi Farms by posting about it publicly? But then later on, the judge asked, well, wait, didn't plaintiff also post about it publicly?
Yeah, so if she mentioned the Kiwi Farm things in her Substack, which she did, then that means that she's just as guilty. Yeah, the judge is going to look at it and be like, wait, didn't you do the same thing? Yeah, like that's how a judge is going to look at it. Like, these actions need to be, they're either equal or not equal. So either you're okay with an action and you did it yourself, in which case you have to be okay with it when he does it, or you're not okay with an action, so you didn't do it, and it's not okay if he does it. It can't be both. It can't be okay if you do it and not when he does it. That's not how that works. Not in court.
It's like, yes, thank you. Yes, they did. Yes. Oh, and then the judge himself, unprompted, brought up, he was like, because I think they were talking about damages or something, or not really, because we weren't out of the damage part, but he's like, doesn't plaintiff posting a public Substack and everything about this, doesn't that kind of exacerbate the issue? I'm like, yes, yes, it does. Thank you.
Yep,
yes.
They brought up her Substack.
Oh my God.
What I thought they would do. Yep.
Oh.
I said it when I read the Substack, that her releasing that information via Substack instead of just suing him was that's the legal equivalent of shooting herself in the foot. It's going to undermine a lot of her arguments. I said that in the time, and everybody was like, oh, well, she has the right to speak out. I was like, not if you're suing. If you're suing, you're speaking out to a judge, not to the public. Speaking out to the public and then complaining about someone else's public action makes you look bad. They can't be like, you can't complain about something happening in the public that you're doing yourself.
Anyway, it was. Isn't there a court transcript from today that's public? So if you want, you can do a private hearing. You would have to request in advance. And I don't know if you do a motion one, you have to say, I would like this hearing to be private. I want to seal the hearing. I want to seal the transcript.
I thought that they didn't make this private, though. Well, maybe he's getting to that. Hold on.
They did not elect to do that. Okay. Although now that the hearing is over, now they have announced that they're going to file a motion to try to seal the transcript, but it was in open federal court.
Yeah, if it's an open court, then the transcript is going to be open. I will be shocked if they're able to close the transcript because the case was not going their way, which does make me think that this is not going their way. So I will be shocked and amazed if they're able to get this transcript closed after the hearing was already had in open court. Open court should mean open transcript.
Like there's a guy in my chat who was there this morning. So I don't know why they think they can. I don't know why they think they can seal the transcript now when they literally held this in open court when people were there, but. Is there a court transcript? Not yet. I don't know how long it'll take for that to become available or ordered or whatever.
I think it usually takes about a week.
But it's crazy how much the judge is repeating stuff you've been saying, Keck. Him laughing at plaintiff's lawyer was cinema. Oh, true. Jesus.
Wait, the judge laughed at one of the lawyers? Oh, that is not a good look for that lawyer. That makes me wonder, like, what was his argument, or what did he say that was so bad that the judge was like, I ain't even going to take this seriously?
Did your public coverage of the case on stream come up at all? Not really, but I don't know if they had that line of questioning prepared, but the judge had already asked, like, have you been live tweeting about this case? Have you been speaking about this publicly? Was the Substack public? So I don't know if they just didn't want to go that route or if they just didn't prepare a line of questioning there, but. Who was avoiding your subpoenas? So Abby MC was supposed to sue me as well. I got a demand letter from her saying she was going to sue me by the same lawyers that are representing Pixie, which is also a massive conflict of interest, by the way, but whatever.
True.
However, this was like a month and a half ago, and nothing came from it.
Well, nothing may have come from it because it was a conflict of interest. That might be the reason. She may have just backed out and been bluffing, which I think is where he's going with this. But it could be because using that same lawyer that's already in this case would be a conflict of interest. You can't have, him handling two cases related to the same thing. So maybe she has to shop around for a new lawyer. I don't know. Could be a number of reasons for this.
And now that she's elected to be a star witness on this case, we tried to serve a subpoena to her via Pixie's attorneys, and they're saying, oh, we can't accept service on behalf of that person. So I don't know if she dropped that law firm, but she's staying on as a witness.
Yeah, it sounds like she dropped the law firm. Now, I mean, if she's being used as a witness, you should still be able to subpoena her as a witness, though. But she can't use that law firm for her own suit.
We've tried to subpoena her at the addresses that the service processor has available. She's avoided she's avoided service at any address, so she's just hiding from any subpoena. So yeah, feels amazing, man. Real good.
Wait, so did one of the witnesses not show up? Like they weren't even able to subpoena one of the witnesses? Like if they had a witness that didn't show up, that also doesn't make Pixie look good. Especially if you've tried multiple subpoenas and they just didn't go through. I'm
curious what the other side's framing is. I'm sure they aren't saying we got crushed. What do you think they did well in? They honestly, it just wasn't anything. It was really brutal. Oh my God, even the lawyer. Oh, Zip, do you remember when the judge asked the lawyer, he was like, oh my God, dude, I almost started crying in court because this lawyer made me feel so fucking seen and sane. Do you remember when the judge asked, in any of the cases that you've cited, I think he asked, has there been a single time where the plaintiff wasn't the one, or the defendant wasn't the one, I think, was it to publish any of this online? Are any of the cases you've cited, is there any case law on that whatsoever? And the guy said, and he had to eventually say, no, there's nothing. Oh my God, it was so,
So he's got no case law to cite for the case that he's going for. So there's like no precedent here. So this isn't the slam dunk that everybody thinks it was, judging by the fact that he doesn't have any case law he can even cite for it.
Jesus. Is another hearing tomorrow? I don't think so. The judge was so quick with the case law has nothing to do with this, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like it is not going in Pixie's favor so far. It sounds like her lawyers don't have as strong a case as they thought they did, and they started to waffle a little bit after that. That they don't have the arguments they think they had. They had a witness that didn't show up. The judge starts asking to cite case law. They don't have any relevant case law to cite. Ooh, this does not sound like it is going to be the slam dunk case for Pixie that everybody was saying that it was going to be.
What's next? I mean, it could take this guy anywhere from 3 days to 3 weeks to publish his recommendation. Who knows? So what about the damages? Did y'all get to that? No. This is just a hearing on the preliminary injunction. But we're bringing up the subject matter jurisdiction a lot because the other side has no evidence. And they're wasting the court's time by having so much being pushed on this case when there is no subject matter jurisdiction. The court shouldn't probably be hearing this case because
nothing will annoy a judge more than to think that he's here to judge a case, and then one side just all they have is hearsay, he said, she said, and no actual evidence. And every time he's trying to ask for something relevant to the case, like, okay, what do you got? Well, I don't really have anything other than this person who said stuff. Okay, well, are they gonna can you call them to the witness stand? Well, they're not going to show up, but they said it, so we know. Well, we've got this DM that he had with this person that says that they did this. Okay, do you have anything other than that? Well, no. Like, if that's all you keep bringing to the table, the judge is going to get annoyed by that pretty quickly, and this may just end up getting dropped. Like they're like, okay, so it doesn't sound like you even have a case. Why am I hearing this?
They have no evidence of the federal statute. There's no diversity jurisdiction between me and plaintiff. We both live in the same state, so... What are the range of possibilities for his ruling? I mean, the range is all the way from the judge decides, actually, I think I'm going to fully grant this preliminary injunction, which is unlikely, all the way to the recommendation that the case gets tossed, which is probably not as likely. This was just a hearing for the preliminary injunction, but obviously we're pushing really hard on the subject matter jurisdiction now anytime we can, because there's no reason for the court doesn't have the authority to hear this case, right?
Yeah, so it could get dismissed outright on that premise that, like, oh, there's not enough here to even have a case. If you guys can build a stronger case, maybe come back. And that depends on whether or not he dismisses it with or without prejudice. And then there's all the way on the other end where he grants them what they want, even though it doesn't sound like they have enough evidence to support it. That's why he says it's unlikely. But they could just grant them what they want, and then it'll proceed to court. So it's a number of different ways that this could go. This isn't a slam dunk. It is all still very much up in the air. It does seem, so far from his telling, it does seem like it is leaning pretty heavily in Destiny's favor so far, which I know a lot of people aren't going to be happy to hear. But that's kind of what my feeling was on it to begin with. I agreed that he was probably a bit of a gooner and a bad guy who did bad things, but I didn't think he was a criminal. And I didn't think that what he did constituted a court case. So I didn't have much faith in this lawsuit to begin with. And it sounds like that might be the case, but we'll see. Again, we haven't read the transcript. The transcript may tell a different story. Maybe he's leaving out a lot of context. I would need to see the exact wording of the judge and the way things, and the way the lawyers responded to what the judge said. Yeah, I would need to see all of that too to come to a conclusion on whether or not I think it's going to be thrown out. I don't have enough information yet.
Do they mention sanctions for their behavior? No, we didn't get into any of that or whatever.
And this is what I mean by he seems boring. Like, there's just a lot of dead air where he sits there and waits for chat. Like, I don't understand how he became such a big streamer if this is how he's always streamed, because it seems like if he doesn't have chat to fall back on and to reply to, then he doesn't have any content. It's just a weird streaming format. If these are his day-to-day streams and not the clips I've seen, this is just how his streams usually go, then this makes me go like, who sits around and watches this for hours while he just casually talks to chat and doesn't really... it's just so low energy, you know? But I'm a small streamer, so clearly I don't understand how streaming works, I guess.
Are you going to go over the transcript once it's out? Yeah, maybe.
I'm not going to pull out iDubbbz and tell him this isn't what live streams are when I have a fraction of his audience. But still, it just, like, I don't personally see the appeal, is what I'm saying.
Oof, I feel like, yeah, fuck it, I don't think it matters. Oh, do you remember when Brettler objected hearsay and plaintiff said, oh, yeah, when Doe said, that's not hearsay, and then the judge said, I'll decide what's hearsay. Oh, true.
Yeah, that's a bad look when you tell the judge. You should always ask the judge a question instead of telling him what to think. Judges don't like that, and that's a bad look. Remember, it's always in your best interest to stay on the judge's good side, because you don't want... Judges aren't supposed to get emotionally invested. They're supposed to use facts. But there are times when, if you piss off the judge enough, then he's less likely to be receptive to your arguments. They are still human beings. So telling a judge what to think, like, that's not hearsay, versus, is that hearsay? Asking him if it's hearsay while questioning it is different than telling him it's not.
Man, I feel like if you're testifying,
respect is big for judges. I mean, that's why they're your honor and blah, blah. Yeah, like, you have to be completely respectful with them. The minute that you start talking to them like they're not, the judge in charge of the outcome of your case, then they stop acting like the judge in charge of the outcome of your case. Yeah, so you need to be respectful the entire time. And that's hard for some people to do, because you want to talk to him like he's a normal dude, but he's not a normal dude. He's the guy in charge of, in many cases, your freedom or your financial situation. He's not a normal dude. He's an important dude. Treat him like such.
like you should be like very snappy. Like I hopefully that came through, Zip. I don't know when you're like, I feel like my testimony was like very concise, very to the point. Yes, no, I don't recall. What I've heard, and then obviously what I've been told as well, is that speculating on the bench is is it on the bench? On the stand is a really bad idea. If somebody's like, what do you think, when did this happen? You're like, well, I'm not sure, but there was this date, and then this happened, and blah, blah. And yeah, there was a lot of...
Yeah, because if you're telling the truth on the stand, like any of those phrases like that, like I'm not sure, or to the best of, or I do not recall, or to the best of my recollection, it makes you sound like a liar. And you're under oath. You don't want to look like a liar under oath.
A lot of yapping. Destiny, was it hearsay? It might have been, but this was a it's a preliminary injunction hearing. I think he allowed a lot. The judge allowed a lot more than ordinary because it is just a PI hearing. It's not like we were in front of a jury or anything like that. So, can you explain what a preliminary injunction is? What happens next?
Yeah, that's another thing. If this is a jury trial and it actually goes to trial, this is why this hearing is so important, because it could determine whether or not it goes to trial. And juries do function different than judges. They're supposed to function the same as judges, and only look at the facts. But the reason why people will often ask for a jury's trial instead of a judge trial is because you feel like, again, the public would see this person as in the wrong, even though there's no evidence. I said that at the beginning of the video, the difference between the way the public reacts to something and the way the judge does. Remember, the jury is the public. They're not a judge. They're supposed to be non-biased and function like one, but most people, when they get called in for jury duty, their emotions do take over. And they'll convict someone simply because they feel like they're a bad person. They're more likely to be swayed with less evidence if they don't like the person.
If granted, a preliminary injunction allows the court to enjoin the behavior.
It's the double-edged sword that is our jury system.
Of somebody in a lawsuit prior to the actual litigation of the matters themselves. So before a jury hears anything, a preliminary injunction allows a judge to say, hey, we're going to enjoin or stop a person from engaging in this behavior because we feel like there's 4 elements to granting a PI. I don't remember them all. It's like you have to show on a balance of probabilities that you'll win. You have to show that in a balance of equities, it makes sense to grant it, which I think means it's more beneficial than not, I think. You have to show that it's not overly burdensome, I think, to the person that the PI is granted towards, and you have to, and there's one other element, I don't remember, but the PI, again, that they're granting is, God, I'm so happy that the judge fucking honed in on this, because the plaintiff is like disgustingly trying to, they so badly want to rope me into kiwi farms. They're desperate to do it. But again, and I think Andrew brought that up, right, to the judge, when sorry, I just read that thing. Fuck, my mind just wiped. I'm so tired. I didn't sleep much last night, and then I slept for like 4 hours afterwards. Oh, they want to desperately rope me into the Kiwi Farm stuff. And I think Andrew finally asked, or I think Andrew might have stated in our closing arguments, like, they should have sued Kiwi Farms. Like, why is Kiwi Farms not listed?
Yeah, if you don't have any evidence to add him to that thing and you keep referencing them, then the judge is, going to say that. Why aren't you suing them? It sounds like your gripe is with them. I mean, yeah, Destiny shared it with a person, but he didn't leak it. It sounds like your gripe is with the leak is responsible for the hit to your reputation. The leak seems to be the basis of your argument, and it seems to me like the place you keep referring to as being responsible for the leak is Kiwi Farms. Why are we suing Destiny and not Kiwi Farms? Yeah, that's how a judge is going to see it. There's not this domino effect where you can say, well, they wouldn't have it to leak if Destiny hadn't shared it. Doesn't matter.
And on this case. Destiny, if granted, what behavior would the PI enjoin anyways? Basically nothing, which is the whole point, which I think was one of our arguments, right? Like, even plaintiff doesn't accuse me of continuing to share any videos of them, except for one weird hearsay thing related to the Abbey, but even that was 2 years ago, even if her statement is true. And so otherwise there's like no behavior to enjoin. And it doesn't even make sense. Like, why, like, yeah, the plaintiff isn't even really accusing me of like continually doing this. So, oh yeah, they tried that, but I think the judge asked for more clarification afterwards, right? Because I think the judge said, do you have any other evidence besides this Abbey person who didn't show up? They had no witnesses today, which they don't technically need, but I feel like a subject matter jurisdiction question is very scary because you can get their whole case will be tossed if they don't have that, and they have no likelihood of success on the underlying state claims. The state claims are unhinged. They're like cyber sexual harassment.
Yeah, so if they don't have their fucking star witness who's supposed to corroborate all the stuff you said, and you have no physical evidence, then yeah, you have no case. And what were the state claims?
Harassment, and they require malicious intent.
So the state claims were sexual harassment, and that requires malicious intent. Yeah, so that's different. Yeah, it sounds like that. Ooh, that was a good place on that. It's a good placement for that. Okay. Yeah, so it sounds like it's really not going in their favor.
And they might even require, I think, publishing of the media. And despite what Kiwi Farms or Gisticle or other retards say, if you actually read case law, publishing, There's not like, it's not a cute thing where you're like, oh, well, technically if you link a video on here, the link can be made public. No, publishing requires you to post it on a public website.
Yes, exactly.
This is pretty unambiguous. If you actually read cases, you see this. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would have thought it was in the name. You can't call something public. Like, no one says they published a text message when they send it to their wife. But if someone takes that text message, screenshots it, and posts it up on Twitter, now it's been published. But the person who sent the text message isn't the person who published it. Whoever took the screenshot and shared it is.
There were times where they...
I feel like most people would understand that under any other circumstance.
Tried to get cute with that, like he tried to say like, isn't it true, or did you have like a Google Drive link or whatever? And it's like, what? No, or this is like not as you're phrasing it. Yeah, it's so funny to see them try to roll through. This guy is questioning when you're trying to roll through with like Kiwi Farms theories, and it's like, bro, really? Did the judge say anything about the whole Kiwi Farms will take down the video, but only with a court order thing? No, we didn't talk about that too much. But that on its face is like really stupid. It doesn't make any sense. A court order is an inappropriate mechanism to have a video removed and not reposted. The court order will only tell them to take down a specific...
Yeah, true. The court order is what you get when they won't comply. Court orders are for non-compliance. They're not the thing that's required to make it happen. They're only required to make it happen if the person won't comply. You don't need the court order to comply. Someone can ask you to take something down, and you can just do it, especially if you own the website. Like, someone could ask Elon Musk to take something off Twitter, and he can take it off. He controls the website. Even if somebody wants to scream freedom of speech or whatnot, well, then you got to take him to court and fight on that. But he doesn't need a court order to take something down. You need a court order to make him take something down if he refuses, but he doesn't need it to do it.
Big link, somebody could repost it. And also, for however much Joshua, I don't know what dipshit legal counsel he has, if you're willing to tell somebody, if somebody makes you aware, hey, there's revenge porn on your website, and you're like, oh yeah, no problem, I can take it down. I just need a court order. No, you don't. It's your website. You don't need a court order. If you want to take anything down, you can just take it down.
Yep, exactly.
And Andrew kept getting confused by that too, because it's like, it doesn't make any sense for somebody to be like, oh yeah, like, I can do this. I just need you to go ahead and send me a court order for it. Why? If you're cooperating with...
Yeah, either you're cooperating or you're not. If you tell me you can do it, then fucking do it. If you're going to cooperate, then cooperate. If you're telling me you need a court order, then you're not cooperating. So now I have to make the court step in and do it for you.
With plaintiff or with attorneys messaging, why does it matter? Oh my God, Zip. And what was the lawyer was trying to trap me where he was like, did you make efforts or whatever to get it removed from Kiwi Farms? And I was like, yes. And then and then later on he asked me and he's like, your law firm hadn't actually filed a case yet, correct? And I was like, yes. And he was like, your law firm, then you actually didn't send your attorneys. Oh, here's Noel's public statement saying that the attorneys didn't actually contact him. Isn't that correct? And I was like, yes. And he's like, so then, or whatever. And he's like, aren't you contradicting yourself? Is that not a contradiction? And I was like, no, I can have somebody contact them who aren't my attorneys. And
Yeah, it doesn't have to be an attorney. Like, everybody thinks it has to be the superficial thing. Destiny technically runs a business. Like, his stream is his business. He could have the manager of a stream do it. He could have a mod do it. He could have his fucking mom do it. Like, it doesn't have to be a lawyer.
Thank you, Noel. You retard, because Noel publicly posted on his website that he got an email from my fucking manager at the time.
Yeah, okay. So he got his manager to do it, and then Noel admits it on the website. Yeah, all of this is making Pixie look extremely bad. Like, it looks as if that they're trying to paint a narrative and not telling the truth. The more dishonest you look in front of the judge, the less likely you are to get the result that you want in front of that judge.
Thank you, Noel. Thank you, Joshua. I appreciate it.
If this all went down exactly the way he says it did, this might get thrown out. This might not see a jury trial.
How shitty were the lawyers in person? Everybody was pretty professional. Although the Joan person wasn't there. Interesting. Why did Doe cry? Did Doe cry during Andrew's questioning or during direct examination? I don't remember. I think she was just getting frustrated because...
Yeah, that's another thing. Crying on the stand doesn't immediately mean guilt or innocence. Like, people often conflate those emotions to think that because someone is crying on the stand, they're either crying because they're caught or they're crying because they're innocent and they're frustrated. Yeah, usually it's just frustration, or it could just be being overwhelmed with the amount of pressure that's on you, because a lot of people just, once they sit on that stand, it's a different feeling. You know, some people can't handle the pressure of everybody looking at you and knowing this may all hinge on what you have to say. Like, that amount of pressure alone could make someone cry. So it could mean something, could mean nothing.
During her own lawyer. Oh, Jesus. Damn. During direct exam. So your own lawyer questioning you. Oof. Okay. Who is Joanne? That's Joanne Peters is it's Lauren Hayden's AKA, I guess. I don't know. It's the one, I think, who's been doing most of the writing in the filings. How fucking cinema would it be if that lawyer actually was fucking Lauren under some, like, name change? Holy shit. Destiny, it was when she was asked about suicidality and she got a little emotional, and her lawyer immediately said, do you want to take a break? Do you want water? Trying so hard to milk it. I don't think plaintiff was, but the lawyer definitely was. Oh, maybe. I thought this was a slam dunk for Doe LeMayo. Yeah, but again, the issue is that people wanted to jump from the internet, I think, to like real life, big boy stuff. And it's not like a shit posting forum. Like, you actually have to provide evidence for your claims. There are actual rules on how you do things. It's not like whoever can create as many unhinged accounts and spam posts on Reddit as much as possible automatically wins the argument, you know? Is the court thing being streamed anywhere? No. Federal courts, to my understanding, do not allow cameras or recording devices, so.
They do not.
Oh, yeah, wait, what was the, And the way she tried to sneak in that the leaker said Rose was 17. Oh, yeah, I added that. I try not to ramble if I'm on the stand. I want to be, like, very clear and concise with my answers, but it did feel good, because I think opposing lawyer on cross was, like, asking me, like, did he ask me, was he like, is it true that, you didn't know this person very long or whatever, and you were sharing explicit videos or something? And I was like, yes, just like with plaintiff. I think I had that one loaded a few times, like, correct, just like with plaintiff, correct.
Yeah, so if he can show that this behavior happened with someone else and that she was okay with it then her not being okay with it with this one person, again, and leading back to the complied consent thing. Like, did you do this? Yes, just like I did with her. Yeah, so he's showing consistency in his behavior where she's not, which doesn't lean good in her favor either.
Justice with plaintiff, correct, yes. Oh, probably one of the worst. Oh my God, dude, there was bro, some of what's in the record now in terms of stuff that I can draw from, whew, one of the most brutal lines of questioning. Zip, do you remember when, so they tried to do this, so again, they're trying to use this Kiwi Farms theory, because honest to God, I think she just copies stuff from KF and then she throws it to her lawyer. She's like, let's use this. They're trying to run with this weird theory of like the Google Drive. Like, he had like an open Google Drive and he's just linking everybody to this whole repository of stuff. And it's like, no, this didn't happen. And at one point the judge stopped, and I think the judge asked her like, oh, like, because I think they were trying to say that she had no idea that, was it about like a Google Drive link or something? And he asked her, he was like, so, you know, did you ever share videos with plaintiff ever bring this up? And then she was like, yeah. And he was like, and did you, he was like, did you, how did he send videos to you or whatever? And she was like, well, a Google Drive link. And he was like, and you didn't think that he would continue to use like a Google Drive link for transmitting material or whatever? And I was like, yeah, that's how we shared stuff. Yes.
Yeah, so he's established a pattern of behavior where she should have known this is how I was going to share stuff. This is how I share stuff with everybody. So she can't suddenly act like it's not okay to share stuff that way if it was okay for him to share stuff that way with her, but not okay for him to share stuff that way with other people. Yeah, like this again, behavior matters. Like, you can't say that it's okay if you do it with me and not with other people unless you're dating, which they weren't. And the judge probably is going to look at her some kind of way, because remember, Destiny's relationship is not a typical one. And depending on how conservative that judge may be or the way that judge views marriage, then he may not be on board with Pixie's behavior, because she's the other woman. You're fucking a married man in this video. And even though you knew his wife was okay with it, the judge may still... That does still speak to your character, because the judge can be like, well, I know women who would never sleep with a married man, even if their wife said with her. So, yeah, so that... That's one of those things that shouldn't matter, but again, judges are still people, and if you go against their values or they see you as a degenerate, then this could just be, well, you did degenerate shit, and now you're dealing with the degenerate consequences. Yeah, that might just be how he views it. The odds do sound like they are pretty stacked against her at the moment.
Oh my God, that was a brutal. Because they tried to run with this because she gave like 10 minutes of yap testimony about how like, oh, like, I think that these were like open links or something, or there was like an open Google Drive and it's like, no, that's not how any of this works. And I had no idea that this would happen or whatever. And then he was like, oh, well, like, how did you guys do so? She's like, well, through Google Drive.
Yeah, even if the Google Drive link was publicly like an open Google Drive link, so anyone with the link could look at it, it wasn't like privately shared, that still wouldn't constitute publishing the Google Drive just because he put it in there. He would then have to publish the link to it to the public and tell the public that it's open to the public for that to be considered publishing. If it's just a link that anyone can use if they have it, and he only gave that link to one person, then unless somebody's really good at guessing that random link code, then it's still not publicly published. So that still wouldn't count.
Links. And it was like, oh my God.
God, so much dead air. Is this what the streams are like?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, there you go. Talk, dude.
What did she was saying something along the lines of like, because again, it's funny because if you go through my logs, I brought this up months ago. There are these concepts called proximate harm and foreseeability, and truly, foreseeability, I think, is not very well understood, and Kiwi Farms, again, is like laying really heavily into this. But the problem is the foreseeability argument is self-defeating. They want to say that if you transmit a video to somebody, because they really want to rope me into the Kiwi Farms posting, that's their goal, is to try to make me responsible for any damages that might have occurred as a result of the Kiwi Farms posting. So what they're trying to say is that, like, well, if you send a video to anybody, it's obvious it's going to be leaked. And it's like, well, hold on. Didn't you do that exact thing? And then I think the judge asked her, he was like, well, did you guys ever like share videos with anybody else? And she was like, yeah, but I didn't think any other videos would ever be shared like of me or whatever. And then he was like, did he share videos with anybody else with you? And she was like, well, yeah, with his wife at the time. And he was like, and didn't that give you pause?
Yeah, like, shouldn't that have been a red flag? Like, he's obviously going to share this with people. So when you recorded the video, you already knew you were being recorded, so you consented to him having a copy of the video, and you knew he was going to share it with his wife, so you already knew he was sharing it with one person. Shouldn't that make you question your behavior? Yeah, it sounds like the judge is leaning into that. Well, you're doing degenerate stuff and acting surprised that you got degenerate consequences. It sounds like you should have known this would happen. Yeah, so it sounds like he's... God, it does. The more I hear, the more it sounds like it is leaning in Destiny's favor. But remember, this is Destiny's perspective. The transcript could paint a different narrative depending on the exact wording that the judge used. I'll have to examine that when that transcript comes out.
I was like, yes. Thank God. Yes. Why is Gisticle involved in this shit at all? My theory... Oh my God. Yeah, when the judge brought up, because the judge was like, so it's, I don't want to misquote. I mean, the transcript probably would come out, so that's not like I'm intentionally lying, but the judge basically brought up, he's like, so it seems like there was like an implied consent situation going on. And I was like, oh.
So the judge even said it sounds like there was implied consent. If the judge actually said that, like he said, he's not trying to lie, but he could be misremembering quotes. He could be paraphrasing. So I do need to see the exact words that the judge said. But all of that stuff that like sounds bad to the general public and it sounds crazy in front of a judge, it could make sense from a legal standpoint. A lot of people just don't understand the legal system when they go to judge this stuff. This is why cancel culture has to end, because it tends to punish people that the courts wouldn't even punish for things that aren't that bad. Whereas the punishment doesn't fit the crime in terms of cancel culture. Like, we're going to blackball and take your entire career away. Why? Well, this girl says you grabbed her boob. Do you have proof that I grabbed her boob? Or were they dating at the time? Yeah, like, people don't ask for any of that extra context that a judge would ask for, and they just administer the punishment. That's why cancel culture is fucking toxic and needs to end.
Oh no. Oh God, yes. So can the case end here? Do your lawyers think it will? I mean, it could, but who knows? We don't know. The judge, I mean, and again, the judge still has to rule. I mean, theoretically, the judge could just say, actually, I'm going to fully grant the PI. You don't really know 100%, right? I think attorneys are always like cautious for like, anything can happen, so. Why is Justical involved in this? So, if you watch the Supreme Court case about TikTok and ByteDance, there's a very interesting argument that was brought up that I actually agreed with for why.
Where the fuck is he going with this? How does this have anything to do with JStalk or Justical or whatever the fuck his name is, because the guy has no vowels in his name. But yeah, I've seen his streams. He's definitely somebody who's clearly out to get Destiny, and it didn't look like he was being absolutely analytical with the stuff. Because I saw some of the clips from him, thought about going over them on stream, but I didn't want to follow the Destiny stuff with all the hearsay. I only care about the actual court shit. But it sounded like his analysis of how he thinks court's going to go came from someone who's read about court and talked to people who've been to court, but has never actually been himself.
TikTok probably shouldn't be able to operate in the United States. Well, it does. And I think the interesting argument is it's not very fair that TikTok gets to enjoy First Amendment privileges, but ByteDance is beyond criminal reach. So
yeah, so you've got a company that gets to enjoy all of the freedoms and stuff that America offers, but their parent company, the one that you would have to sue and take them to court over, doesn't. That's why Microsoft didn't buy Bethesda. They had to, buy the parent company. Yeah, so they bought ZeniMax. Everybody says Microsoft bought Bethesda. No, they bought ZeniMax. ZeniMax owns Bethesda. So if someone wanted to buy TikTok, you don't buy TikTok. You buy ByteDance. And ByteDance is in China and doesn't have to abide by any of our rules. TikTok gets to enjoy all the freedoms because they operate here. But if you want to try to sue them or take legal action against them if they step out of line, well, you can't, because their parent company, the one that controls them, is out of reach. And he's right. That is unfair. And that was a pretty good argument made for it at the time on why it should be banned. And one that, yes, I also agreed with. Because that isn't fair. I'm all about fairness.
So you end up in this world where TikTok can do whatever they want, and they have full First Amendment rights to do it. But if they're doing something illegal or bad with their data, all of that is being done on the ByteDance side. So they get to do this two-step where they can present a First Amendment protected public-facing U.S. entity and then hide behind a criminally immune international entity. And I feel
it's the opposite side of the coin that everyone seems to understand and complain when it comes to big American companies outsourcing their labor to other countries, so they get to have cheap labor, but they get to operate in the States, or they hold all their money in a foreign bank account, so they get to enjoy all of the protections and all of the profits that come from being an American company with an American audience, but they don't have to pay any of the taxes because all their money's in some offshore account. Yeah, people understand that when American companies try to do this both sides shit. But thank you for the follow. Oh man, it is doubling up. I got to figure out why it's doing that. But people understand that when it comes to companies in America, but they don't seem to understand it when it comes to, something like TikTok. Because people weren't looking at the facts. They didn't want TikTok banned because they liked TikTok. They didn't care whether or not TikTok was operating in the same manner as other companies. They didn't care about whether or not they were being fair. All they cared about was, well, I like TikTok and I don't want it to go away. People were just being selfish. And the truth is, TikTok probably should have been banned because of the way that it operates is outside of U.S. law. So they get to get away with things, but they are still granted the freedom that U.S. companies have, which is unfair.
Feel like in some ways, I feel like this is kind of how they're trying, the plaintiff is trying to do this case, where she's trying to publicly not say much about it, but she's coordinating with a ton of people in the background who aren't a part of the case, who can say a lot about it. I think that's probably, my guess is, I can't know this, my guess is that's probably why Jewstalker didn't want to formally join the case, is because then he would probably be a lot more limited about how much bullshit he can lie about and make up on his stream. And also, oh my God, thank you. It didn't come up at the hearing today, but one of the strongest arguments I have, oh my God, I'm sorry. One of the strongest arguments I have against all of these witnesses saying, I'm terrified of Destiny, I'm so scared, I think he's gonna dox me, come after me. I'm so sorry, Stacia and all you other retards, you guys talk about this shit every single fucking day in Justical's Discord server. I have hundreds of pages of you talking about it constantly. You can't talk about something in a public-facing area for weeks and months at a time, and then when it comes time for you to testify, come out and be like, Well, actually, I'm too scared because I'm worried that he's going to come down really harsh on me. It doesn't work that way.
True. Absolutely true, and the judge is going to see it the same way. You can't talk about how scared you are to speak out on something, and then you're in a public-facing Discord server talking about it every day. You're on Gistical Stream talking about it. He's talking about it. You're making Substack. You're making all these public posts about it. Yeah, that doesn't work. You can't have it both ways. The judge is absolutely going to side with him on that one, which, again, was the thing I said at the time, and everyone was like, well, she's got the right to tell her story. True, she does have the right to tell her story, but then she can't get up in court and claim about how scared she was to speak out because of the repercussions. Either you're telling your story and you want to go public, or you're too scared to tell your story. You can't tell your story and then get in public and say you're too scared to speak out. Too late, you already spoke out. So, should have thought about that. Your words don't match your actions here.
Wait, you're either scared or you're not. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
Oh, that's his Discord. Okay. Oh, man, I was like, somebody join my Discord?
Hey, what's
Is
up?
that chatter
Wait.
joining? Yeah, that chatter's joining, so we get to actually hear.
How you doing?
Okay, so now we get to hear the perspective of the chatter who was in the crowd watching instead of Destiny's perspective. I have a feeling it's going to be mostly agreeing with Destiny, but maybe he'll remember things that Destiny didn't, so we'll keep going. I feel like we've heard the gist of it at this point. There's still another hour in this stream, so I don't think he's going to talk about this for an hour in this clip. I don't know why his clips on his channel are so long. I don't feel like he's going to talk about this for the whole time, but if it starts to sound like they're looping or this guy's going through the same stuff or we've gotten the gist of the information, then I'll stop. I don't think we're going to watch all, 1.5 hours of this, guys.
I'm doing okay. I mean, I think it was a good morning.
Yeah, pretty much. I was very cinema, truly. I have my notes.
Your notes? Oh, I had so many notes because I was passing, but I threw my notepad away. Damn, Andrew's question, it was very
He
brutal.
was really good. I was impressed. Yeah,
I didn't know he did
went
trial
in.
lawyer stuff too. Damn.
Yeah, he went in. I was kind of surprised, but also, I mean, that's what you got to do. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's his job. His point is to, not pull punches. He's not trying to be nice. He's trying to make them look as bad as possible to be like, well, she's lying here. This doesn't make sense here. Yeah, he's like once you're on the stand, they don't give a fuck about your feelings. Their job is to discredit what you're saying. If what you're saying is lying, it's to prove you wrong. And they'll do it brutally if they have to. They're not going to sugarcoat it.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like their counsel, I don't know what he was trying to establish half the time. It felt like his questions were a little bit aimless. I don't know what he was ever trying to get me
There's
on.
so many points on that. Where he was going on. There was one where he was going in on it was so funny. He asked you post videos on YouTube, right? Or you stream? And you're like, yeah. And then he goes, and you make money off this. This is your primary source of revenue? You're like, yeah. So, and you post videos about you talking about this case, correct? And you're like, yeah. And then you're like, yeah, but on the whole, I've lost way more money than
Yeah, because he tried to get me on.
This.
Yeah, plaintiff has a Substack, and yeah, he's like, don't you make money posting videos? Like, yeah, but I've lost way more money than I've gained talking about this and being fucking sued.
And then they didn't want to talk about.
And then he killed.
Yeah, because that's what the judge is going to want to know is the money and the damages. So you can't be like, oh, well, he's got incentive to talk about it because he makes money. Yeah, but does he make more money talking about this than he did talking about other stuff? And if he's busy talking about this and dealing with this, is it costing him money because now he's not on stream talking about the other stuff that makes him more money? Now he's not, doing politics anymore. So if he can prove that he made less money talking about this than he did the other stuff, then your claim that he is only talking about it as much as he is because it's making him money doesn't carry any weight. There's no actual evidence to support it.
Killed his line of questioning right there. And he started shuffling his notes. You know that he had more.
It's a smart line of questioning, too.
My favorite thing was after I gave an answer.
Sounds like he got a really good lawyer, and she did not.
So that I don't think he was necessarily expecting, and he starts shuffling his papers, and I'm like, this motherfucker was trying to go deeper into this.
He was going so back and forth. He wasn't really following a specific thing. He was just kind of throwing all the random questions that they had on you.
Going with the shotgun approach, just hit him with one topic after another, and just go back and forth, just make them wonder where you're going with it. It's a tactic.
Mm-hmm.
I thought.
A lot of judges don't look kindly on it unless they can tell you're specifically going somewhere with your line of questioning. But as long as you're getting results like that, the shotgun approach is a tactic that can work.
Do you have anything else in your notes that I missed from today?
Oh, I'm looking now. I haven't looked at them since this morning. Plaintiff kept running with like I was really sexually inexperienced. When
Oh, she tried that, but the logs and Andrew's lines of
yeah,
questioning
eventually,
were
yeah, it'll come out.
brutal.
Well, it was one of the
Jesus.
things. It was kind of weird, but I mean, I guess that's what you got to do. But like every time your lawyer like asks, like, "Did you say this on this day?" and he'll like read, and she goes, "I assume so." If you have it in front of you. She
Oh
just
yeah, and
didn't
she
want
kept
to
saying like, I
own
don't know because
any.
I deleted the message. You know that your side still exists on that. Like you it's not like I can delete your messages, so I don't know why you would say that. Yeah.
Are they talking about text message or Discord messages? Well, I mean, I guess he's right. Even if you delete all your messages from Discord, her responses will still be there. It'll just look like she's having a conversation with herself, which is going to make him look bad because now she gets to fill in those gaps, and they don't have anything to contest it. So yeah, that doesn't make sense. Why are you claiming that you don't have the messages when he can't delete your messages?
Yeah, and then oh man, I'm trying to. My handwriting's not that good. I'm trying to just read what I wrote.
Wait, I'm gonna grab a Red Bull 1 sec. Hold on.
It sounds like this may be going in Destiny's favor. Again, I need to see the transcript. We are getting one side of this story. But if it is all going down the way him and chatter number 486 here, who showed up to watch it, say it went down, it does not look good for Pixie. It just doesn't. This doesn't sound like it went anywhere remotely near the way everybody thought it would go down for her.
Yeah, go for it.
I feel like there were like I feel like there were 4 times where Andrew had to keep asking questions to get a response from plaintiff, and then after they finally responded and kept yapping, Andrew was like, "Thank you for answering. Strike everything from the record after yes. Strike everything from the record after no."
There was a couple like the.
Oh my god.
I don't know if I run down, but it was.
Yep.
Good.
If I ask you a yes or no question, you give me a yes or no answer. If not, you can talk all you want. It won't go on the record, and it won't be admitted into the jury trial when and if it goes to a jury trial. Yeah, so you're wasting your breath.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Is there anything else?
Geez,
Is that it?
in my nose. I should have.
You guys are kind of petering out here.
Like the judge asking, like, did you have an online profile? Like, what was that? Then she mentioned actually like being in this a streamer in the space after a lot of her testimony.
Oh,
Oh my god. Oh, this one. Hold on. When the plaintiff's lawyer asked her, if you sent people to Kiwi Farms, and then your lawyer objected, objected like speculation. She just said yes, like he knows Kiwi Farms has a thread. He's still sending stuff, even though he knows that Kiwi Farm has a thread that's like obsessed with him. But he's still sending stuff to people. Like, yeah.
Yeah, all of that was so weakly supported. Yeah. They really desperately wanted to go with the like he's directing people towards Kiwi Farms, and it's like
yeah. So what he just said there sounded like they were trying to fault him, or saying that the actions of Kiwi Farms should dictate his actions. Of going, well, he knows that there's a threat of people after him, so he knows that if he posts something that they're going to come after him. So why would he do this? And he's not responsible for the fucking actions of Kiwi Farms. He's just not. So you can't say that, oh, because somebody has a Kiwi Farms thread that they should now act a certain way. You can't give Kiwi Farms that kind of power. Kiwi Farms is still at fault. Like, you shouldn't have to change your behavior because somebody else is out to get you. Legally speaking, that doesn't make any sense. Damn.
You understand the
but by
plaintiff
the end
is-
of it, they kind of dropped it because the judge they had to like, eventually it was explained to the judge what everything was that they were talking about. Like maybe they were like trying to slip it by without having to explain what Kiwi Farms is or like everything, but.
Yeah. Oh, but then plaintiff herself ended up explaining a lot that like, yeah, there are a group of people that super hate him and post shit about him all the time because they were trying to make that.
I was surprised she said that.
Yeah, she said so much
Yeah, it sounds like this is going to make the judge sympathetic toward him.
stuff that I feel like she didn't need to or shouldn't have said at all. Oh my God, there's a lot of stuff that I can, Jesus, but.
Yeah, about the lawyer kept asking about like the Google Drive. And then Fix is like, oh, well, Abby MC said she received the video from Google Drive. And he has sent links and everything. I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah. but with no.
And then the judge asks, but you got stuff from Drive to the... Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Who's on the call with Destiny? I don't know, some guy who lives... How far away do you even live? Like 40 minutes?
No, like 20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so it's just some guy that Destiny doesn't even know. It's just some fan who knew that the case was going to be close to his house and decided to go.
What did you say? You were just like,
Not to dox
here's my
myself,
ID.
but-
Can I just like go into the courthouse? You're just allowed to walk in, I guess?
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
You're
it's
just
all
allowed to
public.
walk in. Yeah, it's all public. You don't even have to show an ID.
Oh,
can
did you
just go
hear
in.
they're
I'm like
trying
a-
to, apparently they're trying to seal the transcript now?
That was... yeah, I just heard it.
Yeah, so we'll listen a little bit further, but it sounds like they are starting to loop a little bit, so we may not listen to too much more of this.
After the open hearing? What the fuck? Why would you not
Like,
do this
yeah.
beforehand? It was so stupid. Why? You can't do that. They're doing so much stupid shit.
Yeah. And it's funny that they're doing that when, I mean, maybe they probably don't know. I already like talked about everything on Darius' stream earlier, so I mean, I guess that's that. But, yeah.
You still feel bad for her. Like, I guess she has to be responsible for her actions, but I also think she's getting hardcore. No, she's an adult. This is on, like, this person is literally trying to, like, attack me more than any other person in the history of all of everything. And she should know better, right? There's a person who's like, oh, I want to go to law school and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I have no, this is stupid.
True. True. She brags about the fact that she wants to go to law school and claims to know how the law works. And if everything is the way he says it is, her performance and just the handling of this lawsuit and this situation entirely shows that maybe you don't understand the law as well as you think you do. So this will be a nice learning moment for her. Hey, it may help her in law school. It may help her understand the law better. So maybe some good will come from this.
Oh, I have in my notes, Pixie was asked, did he try to remove the videos? And she said yes. Which that was like before everything, so like that probably was scrolling later.
They contradicted because when she kept yapping,
has he doxed you? And she said yes. So that was something.
Oh, because I said the name or whatever. Oh,
Yeah.
but they forgot, and I actually just learned this recently. Thank you, Chatter, by the way. Oh my God, it was so awkward. I didn't know this, but there, I'm not gonna say specifically, but there was a way that they put this in all their court filings. This is all public testimony, and all this testimony will be public. When they opened their Give, Send, Go, her name was attached to it for like a week. And listening to them try to talk around that, where she was like, well, I didn't know that would happen, and I didn't know that my whole...
Yeah, so you can't. So she's in court complaining that he doxed her because of the stuff that he posted, but she opens a Give, Send, Go with her actual name on it. Oh, God, yeah, this sounds like they're just super sloppy with the... All of this makes her look bad. Yeah, this is going to be in a teaching moment for her. I feel like Destiny's going to win. If it's gone the way he said it's going to go. As much as the internet's going to hate it, sounds like he's going to win. And the worst part is, like, they'll blame it on him having money and they won't actually look at the case. They'll just scream about how foul or broken our justice system is because they feel like somebody was wronged, so they should serve justice. And that's not the way the justice system works. It doesn't matter if you feel like they're a bad person. It doesn't matter if you feel like they're wronged. It's not what you know. It's what you can prove. Yeah.
whole day would be shown, and and we had to message them, and it's like, oh, that was when the judge was just asking her a question, that was brutal too. Jesus.
And the judge kept trying to clarify. He like really trying to clarify. Okay, but couldn't you have done this, or couldn't you have done this? Your name was on there, right? And like,
jeez, yeah.
I think Pixie was asked, did you ever object to him sharing? She said no.
Oh yeah, some of the statements that
but I feel like that's another one that's gonna.
Yeah, that one's gonna. Ooh, that's probably the most damning. Is if she said that she never objected to him sharing, and they were probably referring to him sharing with his wife, not with this girl in particular. But the fact is, okay, so you were okay with him sharing it, because then the argument can be made, well, how do you know his wife wouldn't share it, especially after they got a divorce? Couldn't she have easily leaked it? Like, this shows that you were irresponsible with the handling of your own tape. Like, consent. Yeah, like, it doesn't sound like you were. Because remember, this all hinges on the fact that she was like, this can never be seen by anybody or it will destroy my reputation. Well, can I show it to my... Well, okay, you can show it to her. Yeah, like if you start saying, well, you can share it, but not publicly share it, then he can go, well, I didn't publicly share it. Yeah, like it all starts to look bad. It all starts to look bad in its totality, guys.
Fighter and the oscillator.
Yeah, because some of the statements she was making, Yeah, I don't want.
Oh.
I try to stay. I don't want to get too central on that issue
Yeah,
because
yeah.
obviously the whole case is
It's the
about
main
that.
thing,
But
but
she said a lot of stuff that cut against her. I think really hardcore when it comes to the Cardi claim, which might not even actually stand up to anything at all anyway because they have no evidence of it at all anyway. So yeah, Jesus.
Yeah. I got to the point in my notes. There was one where, oh man, I just read it. Where was it? Where was it?
Just to get an idea of how well it's going, can you specify what part you think may have hurt her case the most?
Damn it.
I mean, I don't want to sound like overconfident. I mean, Zip, I guess can answer, but like I feel like I'm pretty on the right side of all of this. I don't think like I'm kind of laughing or bragging, I guess, about not bragging, but like I feel like things went well. But like I feel like it's an incredibly challenging case from their perspective. They have a really, really, really hard case. They filed probably in an inappropriate court, and they're filing on a claim that they had no proof for. And the dream, like imagine jumping out of a plane with your parachute, but it's not on yet, and you're trying to put the parachute on as you jump out of the plane, and then you pull the ripcord and you find out actually it was just a hiking backpack. Like it feels like that's what their case is. And meanwhile, I just have to not say anything really stupid or fuck up or whatever, even though they keep trying to lay traps for me. Or I don't know. What do you think there was anything that was particularly bad? Or do you think it's the worst moment for me? I guess.
There was one question from you where you answered, and I was surprised you answered yes, just like without clarification or anything. I don't remember what it was. I'll probably find it in my notes. One thing that I did think was a little funny was during Brother's Cross on plaintiff. I think your lawyer was like looking at like the logs and the gas camera about them.
Oh yeah.
And he said like, and this is your message where you suggest recording videos. And she was like, well, yes. And the judge was like, wait, but I thought you said that he suggested recording videos. It was so funny.
Oh my God! Did she suggest recording it in the front? Oh, she's cooked then. Because if that's on record, even in front of a jury, where you're like, you suggested recording it, and then you gave him a copy, and now you changed your mind, and yeah, because now it looks like you recorded it, and then you got buyer's remorse, and you regretful of it later, and decided that you don't want him to have it, and it's too late now. Yeah, if it was her idea, oh, that's a much different story. Holy shit.
No. Oh, you're not even getting the best part of it. When he was like, I thought you said that he suggested recording the videos, not you. Do you remember how she tried to explain that?
Oh, because she kept saying like, because he had sent me a video, and then I thought that was because he wanted to. So like, imagine I don't remember the metaphor.
Yes,
like,
she was like,
And the whole thing started because Destiny sent her a video of him with someone else, so you already know that he shares this stuff. Oh, yeah. When a judge looks at all this and says, so you had all these red flags and chose to do it anyway, and now you're mad that it happened to you. It sounds like you knew this would happen. Yeah, like it still sounds bad. Remember, this isn't a criminal thing, so it's not like fault is here. It's more, and that's another thing. Like in civil court like this, not criminal court, the standard isn't beyond a shadow of a doubt for proving something. It's more likely than not. So if the judge is only 51% in favor of one party, they fucking win. Like, well, it seems like you should have known. That's enough.
was like, let me try to explain.
And
Let me try to explain with an analogy.
How
Wait.
good this water is, and then I asked, "Can I have some water?" Like, did I it's not really making sense, but like.
Yeah. She tried to walk through an analogy, and she's like, imagine somebody has really good water, and you start drinking all the water, and they're like, wow, this is really good water, and then somebody else is next to them, and you're like, well, can I have some water? Well, you would say that the other person suggested the water to them, even though they didn't really. And then I think she was like, okay, wait, this analogy doesn't work or something. And I was like, oh my god, why are you doing this? Oh no! But then right after I think she said that, then Andrew just started reading her statement. She's like, "You did say this, right? And you did say this, right?" And my. So
she tries a bad analogy. Oh, it sounds like the more she tries to defend it, the worse she's making herself look. Again, I'll need to see the actual transcript, but if it all goes down the way he says it goes down, she might be cooked. Like this might not go her way. She should have taken a settlement when she had a chance. Was a settlement offered? I can't remember. I feel like Destiny offered something, but she wanted something insane, and he tried to meet her at like a lower thing. I think he offered to pay for her school and shit, I believe was the offer, and she wanted like millions of dollars because she's like, I won't be able to get into school now. Yeah, like she tried to make it sound like her life was ruined, which I disagreed with at the time too. I don't think nudes and sex tapes are as big a deal in 2025 as they were back in the 90s. I don't, especially when it comes to jobs and stuff. I feel like everybody has taken a nude of themselves at some point. So people are a lot more empathetic to it now than they used to be. And on top of that, Destiny's the more famous public figure here. I don't think most people would be looking at it, which would give her even more sympathy when it's shared, because if a boss or something is looking at it, be like, whoa, you okay, so you made a sex tape with a rich famous guy. What girl wouldn't? You know, like I feel people would be sympathetic, like it wouldn't be the life ruining thing she said it was. I feel like that was overplayed. And on top of that, if she wouldn't have said anything, everybody on the internet wouldn't have cared about the girl in it. Like, she would have been an afterthought. It wouldn't have been her sex tape. It would have been Destiny's sex tape. Like, sure, people would have talked about her, but nowhere near as much as they are now. Like, she only made it worse by bringing more attention to it.
My responses in the DMs were always like, oh yeah, if you want to, then yeah, sure, whatever. So it was like,
yeah.
Jesus. Anyone from the public can go to these court hearings. Yes, these are open hearings in open federal court.
All right, we
Could we watch this somewhere? No, federal court is generally not recorded in any way, but there might be a transcript made available soon, hopefully.
Feels like he's looping back with this chat now. Are we going to go somewhere with this, or are we done? Is this it? Is this our stopping point? He's still reading his notes. Let's see if he has anything else. If he doesn't have anything else new, then I'm done at this point.
Oh, when it was at the point during the cross, like after, like it felt like to me like the way, like it started with like her lawyer asking her questions, and they were like just kind of establishing stuff, you know, whatever. But it was on the cross where Bredler asked Pixie about the Substack, and then the judge goes, "What is this? What is a Substack? What are we talking about here?" And then that's when everything is explained about her posting a Substack a month before filing the case, talking about everything. Yeah.
And then that's when the judge asks, like, well, wouldn't this make all of this like even more public? Oh, and her disgusting there are a few things they're doing, and I mean, like, hey, the game is the game. I get it, right? You're just trying to win your case. That's fine. Them trying to do the what was it? Oh, trying to say that the videos were so popular that Noel tweeted out.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I was like, motherfucker, those were my videos. But I think Andrew brought that up.
From all the way back, that's like back from like the initial complaint and like the immediate reply from your lawyers. Mm-hmm. Like that was the immediate, like that wasn't about the video. Mm-hmm. And I think Bredler argued against that as well today. But
yeah, because Noel's tweeting out about Destiny's other videos that had leaked. Also, this still all makes Destiny look more sympathetic, because now we're bringing up the videos that were leaked before yours of Destiny with a dude, which just make it sound like, okay, it seems like more people are after him than you. Why are you so worried about yourself? Like, it seems like you're bringing more attention than. Yeah, this all does make her look bad.
Where they were saying like, and I think Pixie said this when she was being questioned. She said like, oh, and the creator of the site posted that the website crashed because of the Destiny BJ video. And then Bredler's like, okay, but to be clear, this was a different video unrelated to plaintiff.
Yeah.
And like so many of the videos that they're like bringing up is like your lawyer then had to be like, these videos are unrelated to plaintiff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 Because they just want to bring up like random shit all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and Pixie's still saying that
they were using the internet defense is what it sounds like, which doesn't work in court, where you go with all this bad stuff and pile it on, and then you try to like assassinate his character, basically, to say like, well, look, you're trying to establish a pattern and all this stuff is bad. But yeah, all of that may make him look like a degenerate, and in the eyes of the judge, he probably does still look like a degenerate. He's got sex tapes with dudes, he's making sex tapes with you, he looks like a gooner, he looks like a freak, but none of those things are illegal. The judge only goes with, is this illegal?
Substack was because, or I think the judge was asking like, this was before the lawsuit, wasn't it gonna like publicize everything more? She's like, yeah, but the leaks were already public, and my best friend betrayed me and sent stuff to this other person who made a video about it, defamatory video.
No. Yeah, bro, she was yapping so much on the stand. I was like, oh my god, we need to be way more concise with the answer. It was just like a live stream. She was up there. It wouldn't surprise me if she said like 3 times as much as I did. Or maybe 4 times? She was going off on so many random points. Jeez.
Yeah, she's learning so much about the way courts work now It doesn't sound like she was near ready to speak in a courtroom environment, which is weird for somebody who wants to be a lawyer and wants to go to law school. Well, if anything, at least, even if she loses, at least something good came out of this, which is you got some real world courtroom experience, and you trial by fire, you learn the hard way. So hopefully this will pay off when you go to law school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Is that it?
did the judge say anything about the late motions made by plaintiff, like the TRO? I don't know if the judge brought that up or not, or if my lawyer did. Yeah, but their arguments were pretty weak, I think, on all of it. Yeah, that case law line of questioning where the judge was like, has this ever been, like, is there any case law supporting what you guys are saying? And they're like, well, and it's like, well, is there any case law? I was like, no. I feel like that was really brutal, because that was to the attorney too.
Okay, so he's looping through stuff he already said. I'm going to see if this guy brings up anything else new. We're getting a little bit of something here, but it sounds like we've probably covered all the major points already. So I don't think we need to see the other half of this video, but I'll give another minute or two.
And then the whole, it was such a weird back and forth. Like, well, I think Pixie was asked about the date of the initial sharing of the video with Rose, and she's like, oh, well, I'm pretty sure it was October. That's what I thought. And like, it was just like an immediate objection, like, hearsay. What do you, lack of foundation or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Because, well, how would you know? Like, yeah, I don't know.
Oh yeah. Oh, the judge asked her whatever, right? I think. Didn't the judge say like,
Yeah.
well, how would she even? How would you even
I think
know?
at the very, very end, the judge was even like, okay, but you have no evidence that this was in October, right? Because they're saying that it is April.
And then her
they have
response was like,
evidence, and
well,
you have-
I saw like the public statements other people have made about it or whatever.
Yeah, it looked
Why would
that
you say
way.
what?
So your evidence is just guesses, basically? Hearsay and guesses? Ugh.
And then your lawyer had to be like, even the leakers said that it was European time. And that,
Yeah, they're trying to act like there's a genuine dispute about those logs when there's not. The timestamp will sit at the bottom. I was given an opportunity to explain how I backed up all of my messages, and then I was able to demonstrate knowledge of messages like throughout everything, and that I had backed up everything. So yeah, all the spoliation arguments. I feel like they wanted to ask more about the spoliation stuff, but I think after I gave an answer for how I was archiving and backing stuff up, I feel like I saw the paper shuffle and then he dropped it. So.
Yeah, I said that at the time because J-Stock and everybody was talking about how Destiny's backups are going to get him into trouble because he used Discord logger app and it wasn't backed up through official channels, so the judge wouldn't accept it. And I'm like, I don't be so sure. As long as it's got all of the data needed and the data can be confirmed to be accurate, then those are probably going to be good enough, especially from a judge who may not understand how all this internet shit works. So it was all going to hinge on that. And it looks like the judge accepted them. So J-Stock was just wrong there.
Yeah. Looking, reading my notes. Oh, there was a little back and forth, maybe between you and the judge, where the judge was asking about the IBMC, and you were like, I don't think I sent it. He was like, okay, but did you? You're like, no, because, and then you had the specific answers, like you went back and checked your logs with all these people to see, and you went to search the link and any discussion of the name and like trying to find if you had sent this to anybody else, and you said no. So, and then you even said like IBMC brings up two videos with two people, one of which there is no video of.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
you know.
Yeah. And and then they dropped that line of questioning too.
Yeah, so the stuff you're bringing up you can't show. That also makes you look bad.
Yep, and they dropped it, which I was surprised, but I mean, it makes sense. They don't have.
Yeah,
It's not
I
on
felt
the
so
site,
good to watch
exactly.
that. I felt like the attorney was getting flustered, and then when they stopped that, yeah, I always said this before that like all of my debates on stream, the ones I usually get the most nervous for are the ones that I feel like are slam dunks because I'm like, I think I'm missing something, and I had that feeling coming into this today where I'm like, fuck, I wonder if, like when he started pulling out pages, I was like, oh god, is there about to be some like top, like some.
Oh, he kept showing some. I couldn't see them all, but like it wasn't even anything.
Yeah, I
When he-
know.
when he
Oh my
put
god! And he
Solo
brought up
or,
so
like,
much stuff that I had the opportunity to explain too, because they're like, yeah, and again, more
Noel's
logistical.
message on the thing, and like.
Oh yeah, Noel. Thank you, Noel, for making public that You were indeed contacted, you fucking piece of shit, by me letting you know that there is revenge porn on your site. Thank you for publishing publicly that picture. So we don't have to subpoena you or anything. You've already made available to me exactly what I needed. Thank you so much.
Looks like Kiwi Farms may have screwed her by accident too. Oh shit.
Yeah, the screenshots, they try to warp or twist these screenshots like so much, where they were like, didn't you hear say that nobody knew, or that you had told plaintiff that, like, you know, nobody had known that you guys had had sex or whatever, blah blah. And then it's like, yeah, but this is not the same thing as saying, you know, like, whether or not any material has been shared. If the person has no idea who you are, like, the answer would be the same. Like, the context for this conversation was, I think plaintiff was fighting with Lav or somebody else at the time publicly, and none of those people had known that we hooked up, which is obvious because at the time nobody said anything about it, right? Yeah, which is, yeah. But they're trying to, oh yeah, and them leaning so heavily. I don't want to be like a fucking like a pro rape red pill or whatever, but the ultra over reliance on the word consent for like fucking everything, like consent. Like plaintiff used that a lot in her testimony. We talked about so much about consent, and then I think their attorney asked me that point blank. He's like, didn't you guys talk about consent or whatever? And I think I responded to that, right? Where I was like, yeah, but this is about like rape, not about like having anything to do with
context matters.
Oh yeah, because then plaintiff was asked point blank, did you ever tell this person, I think, right, like, don't send this to anybody else or anything like that? And then she answered in the negative. She was like, no, I don't think I ever said that or whatever, right?
Yeah, that happened. Trying to see. I'm looking at my notes. I got to when your cross-examination started. I think the first thing that their lawyers asked was, you objected to this court order to remove the stuff from Kiwi Farms, correct? Yes. And you had been trying to remove, and you say that you want these videos to be removed. Yes. And isn't that a little inconsistent? You said no. just fully like answering.
Dude, you're trying to trap me so much, but his questions were so dumb. Well, yeah, what do you think, I'm an idiot? You don't think I see where I'm going here? It's like when people are debating you and they ask you what they think is a slam dunk question, and you're like, oh God, I'm supposed to like struggle. But like, obviously I know like what you're asking. Like, I'm not a fucking, well, I guess a lot of people are dumb. But yeah, that was, he thought he could trap me there. It's like, well, you said that you hadn't sued anybody yet. And it's like, yeah, but you can ask for videos to be removed without it being from an attorney. You know that, right? And then he shuffled his papers and then killed that line of questioning or whatever. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
And they kept trying to harp on, but he's objecting to the court order to remove stuff from Kiwi Farms, and then your lawyer's like, oh no, we're objecting because
you want us to pay for it.
They wanted to pay, yeah.
Yeah, and you can remove stuff without a court order, which was their entire point. Like you're trying to get us to pay for something that we've already asked him to do. Yeah, like that should be on the court. Like we're not going to do it for you.
Yeah. Yep. Oh,
they kept trying to ask like, oh, you said that there's no secrets in the streaming world, right?
Oh
like,
yeah, what a weird quote. What does that even mean? They brought that up
random,
twice.
and that was from unrelated anything. That was just a random quote they found.
Yeah, I think he asked me. He was like, is it true that you said publicly before that there are no secrets in the streaming world? I don't even know what my answer was to that. I was like, I guess. I could have said that.
I think you said yes, but it's like...
I might have said, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Like, I'm sure I said that.
Tens of thousands of hours of content. I'm sure I've said that at some point. How is that related to anything?
I think you said I've made lots of statements in lots of different places.
Yeah. Jesus. Oh my God, when...
They asked, her lawyers asked, have other people claimed that you were sharing things non-consensually? And you said yeah, and then they go, how many was it? And you're like, I don't know. He's like, was it more than 5, less than 5?
No, like, initially he asked me, he was like, wasn't it like 20? Reason? Oh my God.
Oh, 15.
No. Because I said that there were 27 videos of me. I think I said posted on Kiwi. Yeah, I was like, did the 27 people in those videos, did all of them consent to me? It's like, and then my response is like, most of those videos were solo videos of me. I think there were like 5 other or less people that were actually involved. The vast majority of the videos posted were just solo videos of me.
Yeah, and I think the judge asked for clarification.
Which makes it pretty clear that I'm the target of the harassment, not you, that no one was out to get you. That, yeah.
On that one, and you were like specific, like, I think of these videos, a lot of them are just of me, and of these videos, I think there was only like 5 different people in total, and and for some reason they were...
Went to Walmart today and there were actually no Switch 2s. It was crazy seeing how all the Switch 2 games and accessories are so expensive. I'm not excited to buy this console in the future. Yeah, well, it was always going to sell out on day one. if we can derail from the lawyer talk for a minute, the Switch 2 is always going to sell out on day one, and everybody acts like, see, it's a success, and people didn't really want to fuck Nintendo, blah, 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 because of their pricing. I'm like, it was always going to sell out day one because, like, even if there weren't enough hardcore fans to buy all of them, which there probably were, but even if there weren't, scalpers are a fucking thing, and scalpers use bots. They're just going to eat them all up anyway. So if you don't buy them, and you are a fucking Nintendo person, like I am, because of their shenanigans with this launch, I can wait. I can wait until they drop the price or until they quit this bullshit. So if you're one of those people, then waiting gives you a little bit of extra, like, yeah, that's a good thing, because not only are you showing Nintendo that you won't buy that console at that price, but you're also sticking it to the scalpers, because now they're stuck with consoles. They're going to have trouble reselling, so they may end up losing money. It's a win-win for everyone not to buy it, as opposed to, just going out and going, well, I gotta buy it because Nintendo, but I'm not happy about it. No, that's the wrong attitude to have about a corporation.
They were trying to say like 24, I think, is what the normal.
I would at least wait for an OLED version. Yeah, I'm gonna wait till the upgraded version, or if I absolutely have to buy one, if a game comes out that I absolutely have to play, which right now there aren't any, but if a game comes out that I absolutely have to play before an OLED or an upgraded model is released, then I'm still probably not going to buy it new unless Nintendo stops with the $80 games and stops with the overpriced bullshit. If they change their ways, sure, I'll go to Walmart and buy one. If they don't, I'm just going to buy one on Craigslist, or I'm going to buy one from somebody used, so that Nintendo doesn't see a dime of my money and they don't get that extra sale.
There were like 24 different people have like claimed that you're not essentially like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, when plaintiff like openly said like, yeah, the reason why I said I'd have to sue him is to punish him, to show him how wrong he is, or whatever, to protect.
So he never does it again.
We didn't get to go down that. We didn't get to go down that line of questioning, but it was like, if your goal was to punish me so I would never do this to a person again, and that's why you had to make it publicly known. Oh, and she admitted, although we didn't get down that line of questioning, but she admitted that like my plan was to make a note that was going to go live after I kill myself, detailing everything he'd done. I was like, gee, why would you say all the Jesus? Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah, because that all looks really bad for her, for you to make it sound like this was life-ruining and you were threatening suicide over it. And then the judge then goes back to well, wait, wasn't it your idea to make it in the first place? Like when you've got all that stuff on there where it sounds like you wanted it to happen, and then now that it's happened and you didn't realize how bad the fallout would, it all does start to sound like consequences of your own action and not you getting screwed over. Because remember, the question isn't whether or not it's revenge porn or criminal activity here. We've already determined it's not. It's whether or not Destiny was maliciously trying to hurt you, and it doesn't sound like she's done a very good job of proving that thus far.
Oh, when plaintiff's lawyer asked about you, you posted her name online, and then you like immediately had obviously the answer. I said her first name, and it was removed when it was asked. This was before the protective order, when I was notified about a protective order, and then But for some reason, they still won't ask, even though they know all that.
Well, the goal is to get stuff on the record that makes me look bad to help the judge, but I don't know if they're just not familiar with it or if they think I'm going to give a dumb answer, but yeah.
Yeah.
Is that it now? God, they keep doing this weird pausing thing while he looks over his notes. That makes me go, is that it? Is that it?
After the cross-examination, because the first time your lawyer was questioning you, he asked like if he can save some of his time for a redirect, and then he came back and the questions he asked was, have you sent this video since the lawsuit? No. Will you? No. Like, yeah. She says she's been harmed a lot by this video and being publicized. Have you been harmed by this? Yes.
Yeah, Jesus, yeah. Also, why are you trying to enjoin me from behavior that's like expressly illegal?
Not happening.
It's illegal. Like, well, I need an injunction to stop this guy from like committing crimes that we have no evidence of him like continually committing. Like, why? Yeah. Like, why would you? Why? Like, yeah, it's already illegal. You don't need an injunction for a thing that's already illegal. That's just not. You're just not allowed to do that. You could just sue me for it over and over again. And then it's obvious, like looking at like the whole process. Like, what? You think I'm about to start running around and posting this video? It seems like it's probably hurting me more than helping me. Like, why would you even ask this question? It's so stupid. Yeah. Yeah.
I just got some this part of my notes. This is so funny. So after you were sent off the stand, then the judge starts asking Pixie's lawyer, what relief are you asking for here? And he says, well, we're looking for a temporary restraining order or preliminary injunction. I don't know why he brought up a temporary restraining order. That shit was already denied, but okay. He's like talking about cardio.
Oh, and he
allows
kept
no
saying
relief,
he
yada,
kept saying
yada.
permanent injunction instead of preliminary injunction, but that's
Yeah.
not good. You know, it misspeak.
Yeah.
It's all good.
That's it happens. He kept saying like, oh, because you're streaming, talking about the case, and you're directing people to Kiwi Farms. You're opposing the motion to take down, so that's why we need one. And then the judge asks, okay, what kind of an injunction do you want? And then her lawyer goes, I think we made it pretty clear in our motion. Judge says, no, you didn't.
Oh yeah, oh we all laughed at the table because the judge was like, no, yeah, this was not clear at all. I have no idea what the fuck you're asking for. Oh yeah, that was so funny. Why would you respond that way? I think we made it pretty clear in our motion what we wanted, judge. Like, answer him. You're at a hearing right now to talk about your motions. Why would you even? Oh shit, true.
Yeah, that's a bad look. If you're telling a judge that we made it clear that we want this motion, and the judge is like, wait, what motion? What are you talking about? Then clearly you didn't make it clear. Oh my God, I can't tell if she got a bad lawyer or like how's this getting fumbled so hard, or is her case just that flimsy? But if this all went down the way he said it does, I don't even think this is ever going to see a jury trial. They're either going to get it's either going to get settled to get tossed out. It's either going to get settled to get tossed out. Like that's where I'm at with this.
That was a good one.
Yeah. I think the question was asked about the subject matter jurisdiction, and her lawyer said, well, my client says that it was in October, and then judge, she wouldn't know, though, right? She wouldn't, so I don't know what we're talking about, what she thinks.
Oh, yeah, we kind of went over that already, yeah.
And then the judge asked, when did you find out about this Abby MC person?
Oh.
And then her lawyer had to admit it was after the suit was filed.
Yeah, which I'm not even sure, again, I don't even know, even if her witness statements were real, which I don't think they are, but even if they were, I'm not even...
Yeah, it brings her witness statements into question if the day comes to court for the witness to come in and make her testimony and the witness doesn't show up. So the witness doesn't show up to even back up her own statements. It makes you wonder if those witness statements are real or if the witness was lying. Yeah, so like statements alone aren't going to be enough. The witness has to come in.
Even sure. I don't know if they would be allowed to even be added to this because I don't know if they would have to amend the complaint for that or not, but yeah.
I imagine that you wouldn't be able to add a witness statement without the witness coming in to make the statement.
Yeah, unclear.
Yeah, like she would have to come in to make that statement on the record for it to be added onto the record.
I think the judge then said that, like, if since this was after the claim was filed, I think this would affect the suit, depending on whatever. And then the judge says, so there's an issue here, and you're asking for a preliminary injunction here, but of course this is months after this claim was filed. From this.
Oh yeah,
you're
because
talking about activity that has been happening since the start of the suit. So
yeah, Andrew brought up the defendant is saying that they were suicidal, and this leak happened in November, and it's now May, June, and now they're trying to get an injunction. Like, what's happening here? You just were okay being suicidal for 7 months? Like, yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't look good. When you're like, I'm suicidal, and it takes you 7 months to make the decision, then it sounds like you're crying wolf.
Yep. Yeah, I have what your lawyer said at the end here, that the TRO was already denied. It's because it was stale, because of how long it's been. That the plaintiff has presented no evidence that of any actual breaking of the federal statute, except for an affidavit with no evidence. Where is this witness? She's not here, so where is this person? Mm-hmm. That even if if the federal statute wasn't broken, since that for the state charges that they're trying to bring, they would require different things like malicious intent and all this, like all the same stuff that you've been saying on stream.
Yeah. Oh my God. And the judge and the attorney, again, I guess they have to win their case, but he's trying to make the most ridiculous arguments for malicious intent. Where I was saying this is one of the self-defeating ones. He's digging a hole here because he's saying that you sending like any video at all is basically, that's on its own establishes malicious intent. And it's like, why would you even write malicious intent into the statute then if just doing this is malicious?
Yeah, if just sending it at all to anyone is malicious intent, then you don't need to mention malicious intent. Sending it would just be malicious. But again, the malicious intent would have to be like you sent it in a way that would defame her, which, would hurt her reputation. Like you sent it for the sole purpose of being defamatory to her. And the way he sent it wasn't that. He sent it with the sole purpose of trying to get his dick wet by a 19-year-old e-girl. That's why he sent it. So, like, that doesn't match. You can't say it's malicious intent. And then he's got a conversation proving that he sent it with the intent of getting laid by another girl. You getting hurt was a byproduct of that, but that doesn't make it the intent.
Malicious intent. And there's like, obviously there's no evidence anywhere. The plaintiff hasn't even presented evidence, and I'm trying to like humiliate.
They kept going like, oh, well, just sending is malice. But then the judge is like, okay, but she sent it to plaintiff, right? Or she sent stuff of her boyfriend to plaintiff, so it wouldn't really...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so she did the same thing. So, yeah, that's a really bad look that she sent videos of a previous boyfriend to him in order to get in his pants. And then when he's doing it to another girl, now it's not okay, and now it's malicious. Yeah, this is a pot meat kettle situation. Rules for thee and not for me, which judges do not look kindly on.
I have here that the judge asked, was Abby in the initial complaint? Her lawyer had to say no.
I feel like this is going to be a Carl Jobs situation where everybody is so convinced that it's going to be one way, and then you get to court and the judge is reading it a completely different way because people are reacting with emotion and the judge is not. And that is exactly what, well, with the Carl Jobs case, you were just misled on the intention of the case. But there's some of that here because obviously it wasn't malicious. I don't think anybody should read it that way. But I think this is more of a people are reading it one way because poor victim girl, and they're letting their emotions cloud their judgment, which is what a judge isn't going to do.
And the judge also said, I don't remember what the back and forth was, but the judge asked or said, well, I'm not sure what to do with usually like the federal statute because and with the state charges for malice because he didn't publish the videos publicly. It would be different if he had like say posted to a Substack, but he was just through text.
Yeah, he used a Substack. He used the example that came from Pixie. Yeah, and if it was malicious, it would have been criminal, which was the whole point and why you had to sue instead.
He was doing it on purpose, but he said that as like, oh my god.
Oh, the shit post. I don't know if I don't know if he intentionally did it. Yeah, the judge was like,
I didn't even know, but oh my god.
Yeah, because remember the again, like Kiwi Farms and Gisticle and all these retards who don't read actual case law. If you want to know how a statute actually plays out, the easiest and best way to do it is you just read a case on it because the commentary on it will give you a lot more. It'll flesh out the understanding of the actual statute and how it's applied in actual cases.
Yeah, this is true. The best way to know how things are going to happen in court is to read previous court cases to see that relate it to what you're doing to see how it's played out. It's how I knew how to behave. It's spending all those days in high school where I skipped school and then I spent the first 2 hours in court. I saw a lot of traffic tickets and how people behave themselves in court. I saw a lot of, like fines and misdemeanor type stuff and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool. If any of this stuff ever happens to me, I saw what worked and I saw what didn't work.
And yeah, people are trying to make this really weird argument of like, well, actually, publishing something can mean sending it to just one person. Since it's on the internet, technically, it's on the internet forever, and somebody could theoretically...
Saying, oh, but he had it on Google Drive, so that's why it's publishing.
Yeah, and it's like, no, this is not what publishing means. And then, and then the judge, when he was responding, was like, well, I don't think this... It sounds like... Oh, yeah, because the judge said, well, no, it sounds like this was a text message. It's not like he posted a Substack about it. I'm like, oh, shit. Yeah, Jesus.
That's so good.
Oh my God.
When the judge starts using your own words against you, you've already lost. If that's actually what the judge said, which we'll read the transcript, but if the judge is actually using Pixie's arguments against her when he's explaining how the law works, she's already fucking lost, man.
God. Yeah.
That's the judge's passive aggressive way of being like, no.
Yeah, putting it out there risks that it gets out. Then she did that to... Then the plaintiff did that too because they're her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And then on that one, I think at least that was like one of the times that like...
I'm seeing what his next point is. If it isn't anything new, then I'm out.
Her lawyers actually had like a good response to an argument. The judge said then she did that too because she sent stuff of her boyfriend to you. And then her lawyer said, well, the difference is that she had consent from her boyfriend to do this. And the judge said, okay, but if that's the case, then that means that this wouldn't be malice. This would maybe be like negligence, but it wouldn't be malicious.
Mishandling of the tape is what I called it. So, yeah, negligence.
And which would have different effects on damages and certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think
that's it.
Yeah, because the underlying Florida statute that they cited requires malice, not just negligence. Yeah.
Yep. And then the ending was just the judge saying that.
Okay, so this is the end.
yeah, he'll his decision on whether to grant the preliminary injunction will affect his motion on Kiwi Farms. But he'll let everybody know. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so he didn't make a ruling there. So we'll stop there. So he didn't make a ruling there. This was all just a hearing. He hasn't made his ruling yet. We'll read the transcripts when it comes out. If everything Destiny said, and again, he could be paraphrasing, him and this random chatter who came to watch could be misremembering the exact wording and what things said, and maybe we'll read it and it'll paint a completely different picture. Or maybe they were on point and this does make Pixie look bad. But after reading the exact transcript, whenever that comes out, I think I'll have a good general idea of how the judge may be willing to make his decision. It looks like he didn't make it that day, but the decision will come soon, which that'll determine whether or not it goes to court, whether or not they need to settle or not, or whether or not it gets thrown out. So I'm leaning more towards getting thrown out, or at the very least a settlement. I don't see this going to court if this went down the way they said it went down. All right, so there's our Destiny check-in. It does feel a little good to know that all the stuff I said about how the court system works was kind of validated in this video, because everybody acted like I was some kind of Destiny dick rider and I was just out to defending him and making shit up. And I'm like, if this went down the way Destiny said it did, then yeah, that's just how court works. I'm not a Destiny fan. I've never seen a single stream of his. I've only seen him in clips. I didn't even know who Pixie was before this happened. So I've never seen any of her stuff. I am just a third party looking in. I'm interested in the legal side of stuff because I'm the guy who used to sit in at courtrooms and watch them for fun, and to get out of getting in trouble for skipping school in high school. But yeah, it ended up becoming something that I just went to do for fun. Get bored, we'll just go sit in the courtroom and watch some crazy court cases. Yeah, it became fun to get a front row seat. It's like going to your favorite reality show, because a lot of people watch body cam footage and court trials on TV and stuff now. So it's like seeing your favorite show for free. You just get tickets to be in the live studio audience for free. Anyone can go to a public court case and just sit down in the courtroom and watch. You can sit there all day if you want and watch a bunch of cases. So I would just sometimes do that for fun and out of boredom. And when I heard all the facts about this and everybody just demonizing Destiny, I went to the legal mindset of okay, well, from a moral and public perception standpoint, yes, this makes him look like shit. I don't see anybody working with him anymore. I do think what he did was wrong, but then I lean to, is it illegal? And no, it wasn't illegal. And then it was, okay, well, does Pixie have a case to sue? Was she screwed over? And the more I watched her actions and looked into her actions, 'cause I didn't even know who she was, and I'm finding out that she's posting stuff publicly and she's saying this and she's doing that. I'm like, this is all starting to sound like more of a cash grab and less like you're a victim. And people were like, oh, you're just on Destiny's side. I'm like, no, we'll see what a judge says. And if it went down the way they said it went down, feels good to be right, because the judge pretty much reacted the way I thought he would. But stay tuned to the channel, because we will be looking at that transcript when it comes out. If you guys are new to the channel, you're new to the stream, you're new to the videos, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. We do these streams every night, usually between 11 p.m. and midnight Eastern time. But that time frame's more of a window and not set in stone. So be sure to follow me on all the socials. They're above your head here. Twitter will let you know when I go live. Discord's where the community's at. You can get in on some conversation, and we can talk about the stuff all these videos are on. It'll also let you know when videos are posted. And yeah, that'll do it for this one. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see y'all in the next one.